Yo, what is up, my gamers in Christ? How are we doing today? Today is the date of April 14th. Hold on, let me turn down the music. A little loud there. Today is the date of April 14th, and we are here yet again, another day of MAGA debates, and really anybody that disagrees. Although MAGA debates just rolls off the tongue a little bit better. Anyways, how are we doing today, guys? I hope we're doing well. I hope we are. Hoping to have some good conversations today, although I don't know if that's, you never know with MAGA. MAGA is pretty beaten down as of recent. Hey, what's up, Stan? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. I'm gonna do a rare at everyone in the Discord. I need to start letting people know that I'm live, honestly. Master debater time. Anyways, there we go. Let everybody out in the stratosphere know that I am live. It's Trump Taco Tuesday. Amen. It is Taco Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen. And wouldn't you know it, he has actually tacoed on something. Believe it or not, Donald Trump let a Chinese ship go through their big blockade. So I think that's pretty interesting. What was that? He's gonna let nobody through the strait, and yet we're letting Chinese ships through the strait, so that's great. That is honestly fantastic, you know? Donald Trump is very well known for being a supreme tacoer, so no real shock there. No real shock there, but besides that, there's not too much going on in the world. We have JD Vance coping. And besides that, there's not much going on. So I'm excited to debate. You know, I can't wait to see MAGA's defense for letting a Chinese ship go through the Hormuz Strait. I think that is just embarrassing, and it shows we're not serious. It shows we're not serious. Of course he did. He is afraid of China. Very true. Very true. I look like a Will Wheaton with Down syndrome. Well, doesn't normal Will Wheaton have Down syndrome? So I just look like Will Wheaton. Okay. Well, that's good. I'm glad you think that. Anyways, if you guys are new here, I do 2 shows every day. One in the morning where I talk about news and politics, and then one in the evening where I debate people. So, if that interests you, don't forget to like and subscribe. But we are looking for people that disagree with what I have to say. I am a proud Democrat, and I believe that defending the Democratic Party is the only way our country can really come back from the brink. I'd like to see your excuse for letting dudes through your strait. See, here we go again with just the absolute homoeroticism of MAGA. I think it's actually incredibly sad to see. You know, I fight for a world where Barrel-Proof Veteran can enjoy his gay lovers, but apparently he doesn't want that world, and I think that's sad. Anyways, feel free to call in if you guys disagree. No, both parties do not suck. This is cope. Typically I see from MAGA, but I also see it from the left, hardcore leftists. Listen guys, both parties are not the same. The Democrats have far less corruption. The Democrats advocate for social policies that many people actually support. So this both parties stuff is incredibly, it's just cope. It's just cope at the end of the day. Anyways, feel free to call in if you guys disagree. We are looking for people that want to debate, although MAGA does have a big social anxiety problem, so let me put on the timer real quick too. I think we should be able to do the timer just like that. Yeah. There we go. Bro, what do you mean the Democrats have far less corruption? I just said that. The Democrats have far less corruption, dude. Point to something. Can you point to something where Democrat corruption and we don't hold our candidates accountable if they engage in corruption? There was no $1 billion worth of fraud in Minnesota. That was a talking point by Nick Shirley. That was a talking point. There have been no arrests that I can see that Nick Shirley's video, that came from Nick Shirley's video. So I'd love to hear the Cope MAGA. The number's right there. So if you don't call in, it's just your own fault. But you guys are stooped in blatant misinformation, so... Somalia. Okay, that is a country. You can Google it? What are you talking about? The Feeding Our Future scandal? Yeah, Biden and Waltz got that. No Epstein arrest? That's not true. We were investigating the entire time Biden was in office. But that all ended when Donald Trump decided to end the investigation. But you can Google it. Yes, I know there's predictive AI on Google, and they will confirm whatever you put in there. I agree. Oh, Jesus Christ, dude. Yes, there are two parties. This is just brain rot. You guys have been consuming brain rot. If you don't see a clear difference between the parties, then you haven't been looking hard enough. And you're just looking at sources that agree with you. Who got arrested then? Nobody. Nobody that I can tell, but I'd love to see where the arrests are. I haven't seen any arrests, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not looking at the right sources of information. Please, MAGA, feel free to enlighten me. Guys, don't give this guy any time like this is why our country is so divided. Bro, you're literally pointing to nothing. I brought up how the Democrats are the one that investigated the fraud when it comes to Minnesota. And your response was, but you can Google it. Well, my friend, I've done more than Google it. Do you believe any politician cares even one little bit about you? Yes, I do. I think that's sad that you've been sold a lie that politicians don't care about you. And that's a lie started by Donald Trump. I love how Vance and Trump administration took a deep dive with their attempted influence over the Hungarian election, and the EU is distancing itself from the Kremlin. Yeah, I think that's interesting, isn't it?
Call from
Tanner.
To accept, press 1.
Hey, Tanner, how are you doing today, man?
Pretty good. Yeah.
That's good to hear. So do you disagree with anything I've said on the live so far, or with the prompt?
I mean, I think he is kind of failing the American people, and I think it's kind of sad what he's doing right now, particularly with Iran and all of that.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's incredibly sad, and he lied to the American people. But I usually keep the friendly call-ins to if we hit our dono goal at the last hour there.
Well, I did have something I did want to mention, though, because I am a right-wing guy. So I remember there was some caller back who was talking about, like, I think he was talking about kings and monarchs in Europe, like last week or something.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I remember the dude.
I mean, I know what's really going on. You have the king. So NATO is actually a monarchy set up by the lizard people from Mars, the Rothschilds. And they are ruling the world through NATO, and they're the king of NATO. So the Rothschild banking family controls NATO, and that's how it all works. And, yeah, it's super interesting.
I would disagree. I think NATO is a collective. It doesn't really, and you can see that with how certain members in the NATO states vote different and stuff like that. It is much more a defensive collective.
Because that's a deliberate part of the conspiracy to make sure you don't think that it's ruled by the Rothschild banking family, but it actually is. It's a crazy red pill once you take it, but I mean, it opens your eyes. NATO, Bilderberg, the UN, WEF, all controlled by the Rothschild banking family, and they're really a ruling dynasty. with a king, princes,
I think
princesses,
the
all of it.
Rothschilds are incredibly, they're the common conspiracy people do conspiracies about, but if you actually look at the Rothschilds, they really don't have that much influence, man. People like to overstate their influence in our politics.
Well, it's not just the Rothschilds, also the Rockefellers and the Carnegies. They're also involved.
But listen to
The
these names
Obamas.
that you're mentioning. Have you heard like anything about the what did you say? I forgot the Rockefellers. The Rockefellers support institutes for democracy. They're not against democracy at all.
Yeah, see, that's all a front by them because they're really in favor of monarchy. So how the world's divided up is the Carnegies. Actually, it's not the Carnegies. Sorry, it's the Murdochs are in charge of Australia and Oceania. That's their part of the world. The Rothschilds are in charge of Europe, and then the Rockefellers and Carnegies jointly rule North America, and then South America and Africa are ruled by a variety of different local ruling families. Bill Gates has a big stake in Africa, and that's how it all works. And it's part of this vast conspiracy. They all meet together in a secret meeting, secreter than Davos, secreter than the Bilderberg Group. It's called the Council of Trent. Not the Trent, not the Catholic one. It's in the same city, but it's a different one. It's called the Dark Council, and yeah, it's super interesting.
Yeah, well, this is just hinting of a like I used to be really deep into conspiracies back in the day. I used to love them. But at a certain point, you have to, look at the facts on the ground. It is a lot easier to say that these groups control everything rather than the very complex geopolitical situation that's actually happening. I disagree. I don't think that NATO is this kingdom and kings and all that with kings and queens. I much more think NATO is just a defensive pact and a collective. And you may say, oh well, that's how they want to seem. But at a certain point, if they act a certain way and vote certain ways, then why I feel like there would be a lot less opposition if there was this big scary group that controlled everybody.
Yeah, I would agree, but it's true, and that's the scary thing is that it's
I
true.
don't think it's true.
And
I've
it's
done
not just there.
research
Like I
into
said, this is the
NATO. There's a
UN.
reason I'm proud of NATO, and that's because it does, if you look at the history of NATO, countries like France and always, having a wild vote and stuff like that, I do think that these are just nations that are collected.
Yeah, they're
And,
collected, but they're all controlled by their individual families that are really descended from the same reptilians that came from Mars that the Rothschilds and the Carnegies
okay.
and Rockefellers are from. And it's part of this international conspiracy, like I
Are
said.
the Greys
It's
part of
actually
it?
intercosmic conspiracy because the Rothschilds are just one family, and the Rockefellers are just one family of this massive group that controls the entire cosmic universe. And
Mm.
they're subjugating Earth. They're taking our energy via taxation,
See,
and they
there's
take that
actually,
energy
well,
and they feed off of it, and they send it over to their base in Mars that feeds their
so
reptilian
the
people.
reptilians, right?
And that's what Epstein was all about. Is he was taking babies and he was cloning them so that he could send them over to Mars,
So
and then they get more
I
energy transfers. It's crazy. I know it's a
the
crazy thought
Dulce
when you think
Air
about it.
Force
It's
Base, is that
100%
where
true.
they all hang out?
And UFOs and all that, that's just them taking people, and they were doing experiments on them to see if they could produce babies, and if that babies could produce bigger energy transfers. I mean, when you really discover it, it's crazy and very complicated, but it's absolutely factual and absolutely true.
So, about the reptilians, right? I think the reptilians are far overrepresented, man. I mean, look at the deal with the Greys that Herbert Hoover signed. I don't think the reptilians are the ones controlling us, especially in America. We made a deal with the tall Greys already, so I feel like there would be a power
Well,
struggle
so
there.
so to everyone in the chat who's listening, what he just told you is a lie. The Greys don't actually exist. It's actually the reptilians.
No, that's
The
not
Greys
true.
are
It's the
invented.
Greys,
The
bro.
Greys
We
are
made a
CNN.
deal.
Listen to
Herbert
me.
Hoover. Who did Herbert Hoover sign that deal with, if not the Greys?
He signed it with actually the reptilians. The Greys
Oh,
were
here we
fake.
go.
Greys
This
were
is
fake.
Cope. No, it was the
So the
Greys, my
Soviet
friend.
Union, the commies, created the Greys, which were really just Soviet commies in alien suits, and it was all a ploy to get them to Richard Nixon to sign the deal over to them. But
What
the
about the tall
reptilians
whites?
prevented that because Nixon was their guy. He pretended to sign the deal, pretended it, and that's why he killed them, and that's why there's dead alien bodies in the White House.
See, I disagree. I think the Greys are the number one alien species trying to conquer our planet. The reptilians are, also known as the Dracos, for anybody questioning out there. The Dracos are not nearly as powerful as they like to seem. I think it's much more about the Archons, okay? The Archons are the ones we need to be afraid of, and Greys are a direct proxy of the Archons. So we need to be much more afraid of the Greys than the Reptilians. Reptilians are just reptilians like that. We also, this is not to disregard the importance of the Manti, okay? The Manti are also, they're a new species that has come upon Earth.
No, I agree.
The
Mantis are getting powerful.
Exactly, man. The Mantis, they're powerful. Anyways, man, I appreciate the call in, but I'm probably gonna move on.
Hey, don't drink tap water because reptilians poisoned it to make you gay.
Well, that's true. That's probably why I'm bisexual. Anyways, that was a fun little bit right there. I enjoyed that. I love talking a little conspiracy theory. None of what I've just said was true, by the way. None of what I just said was true. Unfortunately, the world is actually far more complicated than just aliens controlling our planets. I wish it was that easy. Anyways, feel free to call in if you guys disagree. Okay, I'm a moron? Bill, that's not true. Bro, I just spit some Lemurian facts on you and you're gonna say I'm a moron? Bro, you probably don't even know how to get into Agartha, so don't even talk to me. Okay, this man, Bill W. 2764, has no idea how to get into Lemuria. That guy doesn't exist. I lived off well water in the country all my life. How am I pansexual? Well, see, that's actually the issue, is that they also tapped the well water too. Yeah. Real problems there. Real problems. But anyways, if you guys want to call in and discuss actual politics, feel free to. No, it's because of demonic terrorism defenders like you. No, my friend, I'm warning against the Greys. You're the one defending the reptiles and the Greys and the Manti and the tall whites. And the Archons. Tara Wren right here, she defends the Archons, okay? She's an Archon defender. Think about that. That's embarrassing. Anyways, if you guys are new here, I do 2 shows every day. One in the morning where I talk about news, politics, and get a little gaming done. And then one in the evening where I debate people. So, if that interests you, do not forget to like and subscribe. Bigfoot is the real leader of space? That's what I've heard. Bigfoot is actually an interdimensional demon, okay? Listen, man, I appreciate the call, but I don't think we're gonna... we gotta talk about real politics here, you know what I'm talking about? We don't have enough time for the Greys, but if you guys do want to hear me talk about conspiracy theories, I do have a members-only stream where I talk all about the Greys, Lemurians, all of that. So if that interests you, don't forget to, feel free to buy a membership. Anyways, Trump people on this channel, what has Trump done to make America great again? Nothing comes to mind. Yeah, he's only degrading our spot on the world stage. And think, we sent J.D. Vance to talk to fucking the people in Iran. I don't think J.D. Vance is a good diplomat, guys. Anyways, feel free to call in if you guys, oh, nothing about the Pleiades? That's another example too. Pleiades. I'm ableist? That's funny. Hell yeah, I guess. I don't know. Is it ableist for me to talk about the cosmic alignment of our politics? I think not. I think you're being ableist. Tara, stop being ableist. I'm gonna tell on you to the woke police. You better be careful. The woke police are coming, gamer. Iris is? So the blockade worked so well? Yeah, I know, right? It's like, why couldn't fucking Trump make a deal with the Greys there? Jesus. Hey, what's up, Galaxy? Good to see you. Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. We are looking for people that disagree with what I have to say or the prompt. So if that's you, feel free to call in, ladies and gentlemen. Wipe the sugar water off your mouth. What sugar water do I have? I don't think I have sugar water, my friend. Lots of cope today, guys. I can tell there's going to be a lot of cope in chat today. Not a lot of people actually able to defend their positions, just a lot of cope. You are a fucking idiot! Well, Texas Pete, call in and tell me why I'm such an idiot. But right now, I see a lot of people coping. See, Texas Pete is a great example. I fight for a world where Texas Pete is able to have his homoerotic fantasies and not feel ashamed about it. I fight for that world. 4 ships, by the way, have gotten through the blockade that Donald Trump set up. Wow, we're doing really good right now. See, Trump doesn't have the nads to actually fire on a Chinese ship or threaten a Chinese ship, so he's just gonna be letting them go through. I have yet to effectively defend any of my positions. Well, I haven't really had to defend them right now. What are you talking about, bro? For those of you wondering, this is what Reddit browsers look like. Is it what Reddit browsers look like? I don't know. I don't have a Reddit account. I am not on Reddit, my friend. Four isn't a lot at all. No, but it is a couple, and I don't think we should be allowing any to get through. I don't think we should allow any to get through if we're serious about a blockade. But look at it. You guys are immediately trying to cope, trying to defend. It's just so sad to see. And then look, we've got like people saying TDS. Guys, you have Biden derangement syndrome. Because anytime I bring up a policy that worked with Biden, you guys soy out for the next 10 minutes. It's very sad to see. But feel free to call in. And yeah, Nathan, I'll help you take over the world. There are other countries that use the waterway. They are not just Iran. Yeah, but we put up a blockade, my friend. You guys are so quick to cope. It's sad. It really is sad to see. Anyways, lots of cope in the chat. Lots of sad MAGA supporters that feel their dear leader needs defending. Well, feel free to, guys. Feel free to. Trump, when will my gas prices gonna go down? Useless magatards. Amen, dude. He didn't run on increased gas prices. He ran on deflated gas prices.
Call from.
Anyways.
I'm calling in here.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
One moment. Seems like I'm gonna have to screen this. Hey, how are you doing today, man? Hello? Oh, okay. Never mind. Got a little stage fright. That's all right. That's all right. We all get a little stage fright. Politics isn't worth getting mad about. I disagree, my friend. I think it's perfectly reasonable to be upset with the Trump administration. And that's not true, Nathan. Your vote does matter. Is Trump still protecting Israel from massacring Lebanese? Well, I guess we're gonna find out. Apparently Lebanon wants to talk to us too. And this is all just a big charade until we get, until we start bombing Iran again. This is all just a big charade waiting for us to bomb Iran again. Very sad. Vote Ron Paul. Yeah, I like Ron Paul. He's a cool dude. Trump claimed it should be open for all, not just certain countries, and only stopping Iran-ported ships. Well, that's great, my friend. It doesn't seem to be working. It doesn't seem to be working. The only ships that are important to our trade that, there's no important ships going through. It's just ships from China, which is just amazing, guys. Let's make China great again. Oh, Texas Pete got triggered. Oh, I'm sorry, Texas Pete. Did you get your feelings hurt? Poor guy. When exposing a crime is treated as committing crime, we're the criminals. Well, I'd say Donald Trump has done that a lot.
Oh, hello. My call disconnected.
To accept.
Yeah. So, guys, you do have to be older than the age of 18 to call in. And, I just feel... I'm glad that you are interested in politics, but you do have to be older than the age of 18. Or 18 to call in. Anyways, feel free to call in, guys. I know there is a lot of cope in chat right now. A lot of sad individuals. Does Jesus Christ believe in you? Well, that's a great question. Does Jesus Christ believe in Trump, who recently shared an image that is quite not good, I would say. Not good. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, feel free to call in. I'm seeing a lot of cope from people. A lot of cope. Wisconsin, hey, you guys just won the Liberals just won an election there. Hell yeah. Anyways, guys, feel free to call in if you are older than the age of 18. I very much appreciate younger people being interested in politics. The only issue is I do not allow people that are younger than 18 to call in. Do I believe? No, I'm not a Christian myself, but I have read the Bible, and I think it's got some good lessons in there. Cult members don't like facts. That is very true. Well, I find it incredibly sad that Trump has this cult that are willing to betray their Christianity to defend Donald Trump. And I think that's sad, and I think you're probably going to go to you're probably not where you're liking where you're going to go. Oh, the Arsler, you get your ass kicked by any more women, princess. I don't think I've ever had my ass kicked by women. If you're talking about that one lady that soyed out and said America bad, she didn't have anything to provide. I think it's kind of sad, honestly. And then she soyed out that I pointed out she was insulting me. I'm sorry. The way he said, oh no, I thought that was a doctor. Oh my god, I know, right? Oh yes, I remember, the doctors. Doctors are traditionally dressed in robes, right guys? No. But if you guys are new to the channel, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really does help out the channel, and it gets me boosted out there in the algorithm. Also, if you guys want to see an extra hour of content and me cover the rightoid of the day, feel free to send a super chat. That will contribute to the goal of 5 super chats, and then you'll unlock a whole hour of more content. Plus, I will cover the rightoid of the day, which you guys will vote on. Pretty good deal. I should seek Jesus. Well, the issue is I've already seeked him, and I didn't find much. Not that other people don't find much, I'm glad some people are Christians, and I'm glad you get to practice your religion freely. Anyways, I'm just seeing a lot of cope and not a lot of calls right now. Very sad. Well. Whoa, almost messed up there. Anyways, feel free to call in, guys. We are waiting to hear from MAGA right now. What are you voting for? Republicans, Democrats, or another party? I am a longtime Democrat. I think the Democrats are the only ones actually trying to push the envelope and trying to bring our country back to where it needs to be. Yeah, MAGA is very shy behind their keyboards. I wonder what's going on there. Am I a Democrat? Yes, I am a Democrat. Registered Democrat, proud Democrat. Anyways, MAGA, feel free to call in. And if you guys are enjoying the stream, don't forget to like and subscribe. It does help out the channel, and it gets me boosted into new people's feeds. And where's that? I live in Kansas. Whoa! Holy shit! Holy shit! Somebody just blew up my number. One moment.
Call from
Hey, how are you doing today, man?
Pretty little lady voice there.
Are you sexually obsessed with me like most of MAGA?
Sexually obsessed? That would typical that right away. This goodness, sir, you would coming
Bro,
from
why
the
are you at? Why do
sir.
you want to hear my lady voice? That's weird. Sounds like you're
Well,
jerking
sir, what
off
are
to
you
it.
talking about? Like, I don't even. Typical leftist.
Are you jerking
little gay
to
boy.
it, bro? Are you jerking to me right now? Put your pants on,
No,
sir.
you would know
Put
it.
your
My
pants
foot would
on
be
and
your
talk to
face
me.
with my toe in your mouth. My
Put
foot
your
would be on your
pants
face
on
with
and
my
talk
big
to me
toe.
like a man,
Sir,
not
my
a
big
little
toe would
boy.
be in your mouth. You would know about
Bro,
stroking it,
I know you have to use your big toe as a proxy because
no,
it's
no,
small.
No, just tell me. How does the Democratic Party, what have they even done, sir, for you?
What are you talking about? They're
What have they
constantly
done for
fighting
you,
to bring
sir?
down affordability. They would
What
bring down
rights
my
have you
healthcare
lost, sir?
costs.
You're crazy, sir. You're
Are
crazy,
you okay?
sir.
This is why I advocate for mental health therapy.
You advocate. You don't
Like
even
you
know what
just-
you're going on about.
Like
sir.
you literally just came in here talking about how you're jerking it
'cause
to my lady voice.
I
I'm
had
sorry
to,
I'm
little gay
confident
boy. I
enough
had
to put
tell
my
you.
voice out there,
Sir,
unlike
you sounded so confident. Nobody believes you. You're picking on an old man. What was it, an American? You're picking on an old
okay?
man, sir. Tell me,
You're an old
sir.
man?
No, that guy you were talking to earlier, American something. I don't know, Florida something. I don't know, but I'll
Yeah,
tell you, sir. You're
sounds
delusional,
about right.
sir. Yeah, you sound like the guy beat up in the park the other day, telling me I was
You beat people
well, he
up?
tried
You don't
calling
sound like a
every-
very good. You don't sound like a very good person if you beat people up. Why should anybody listen to you?
Well, this Democrat tried to get all loony with me, and I had to smack him to the ground like the loon he was, sir.
Yeah, you sound violent. I don't think anybody would want to listen to
No,
you.
sir. That
You
guy
sound
was
very
a freaking
violent.
nut
You
job.
just said you beat
Democrats are the
somebody
same,
up,
sir.
and now you're
And you
saying
sound
no.
so
I'm very.
Dude, you sound so
I'm
confident.
very-
Like, nobody believes you. What the
Many
fuck? Well,
people
nobody
believe
believes
me.
you. I'm not even gonna
Many
cuss.
people believe
I'm
me.
not even gonna cuss.
You can cuss. I don't give a fuck.
I'm not gonna cuss, little lady. I don't gotta beat you with that. If you couldn't handle it, your little
See,
little
like
baby
you're
heart couldn't
you're
handle it.
obsessing over
Your
me
little
about
baby
being a
heart
lady.
couldn't handle
It sounds
sir.
like you want to
Believe me,
fuck
I don't want
me.
you to get banned. I want
Why
you
do
to stay
you
here
want to
with us.
fuck me, bro? Why do you want to
No
fuck
one
me?
wants to fuck you, little fag boy. But I'm not. But I would if I had to. I'm not saying I'm your daddy.
Oh, so
but I
you're
could be.
gay. You are
I'm not saying I'm
gay.
your
That's
daddy,
okay.
but I
Does
could
your
be.
wife know? Does your wife know that you
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
history of
He said I
femboy
wanted
porn
to
on
fuck
your
you.
computer, sir?
He'd be fucking head down, ass up, with my foot on his face and my big toe in his mouth. What are you
See,
going on,
look.
bro?
Yeah, you can't use. Listen, I know it's small, and
Listen,
you have to use your big toe
listen.
as a proxy.
Sir,
I get
you
it,
are
man.
horrible. I've been going, dude. You are the worst shit talker I've ever heard. You're so
No,
confident.
bro,
you are.
I'm
You're just a
killing
little
you
gay
right
boy.
now.
Dude, you're a bitch.
No, I'm
You're a
killing
bitch.
you. I think you realize
Everybody
this
thinks
is
you're
the
killing me.
moment,
How?
ladies and
This guy said
gentlemen.
he was killing me.
This is the
This guy
moment.
literally told me, you haven't told me
This is
nothing.
the
Okay.
moment that
How
he
about I
realized
hit
he's
you
getting
with this half of
cooked.
the dick today, then I'll hit you with the other half tomorrow because I don't want to hurt you. I want you to stay.
Bro,
here
it's
this
small.
You
I
haven't
can't.
told me
I don't
nothing.
think you can separate it into
I
halves.
do
Can
this for
you?
a
Can you
living, sir.
separate atoms,
I'm
sir?
com-
Do
my
you have
guy,
the
you
power to
gotta
separate
respect me.
atoms? Do you have the
I'll let you
power to
talk. What do you
separate
think?
atoms?
Sir, Honestly, I'm coming out of retirement to give you this argument, sir. You don't even know who's here, sir.
Yeah, I can.
Pull out your
Well, I
notepad,
hope
kiddo.
it's
Pull
not
out your
somebody
notepad.
important, because
Pull
if it
out
was
your
somebody
notepad,
important,
kiddo, you zero.
if it was
You
somebody important,
self-made
then it
zero.
would probably
I
be
never
a lot better of an argument.
nobody in my life
You don't
like
sound
so I
very
heard you right now.
important.
I had to call in. You self-made
Yeah, because
nobody.
you love me. Because you love me.
You
Thank you. I
self-made
appreciate
nobody.
it.
The only
I
reason you're
appreciate
here in
it.
the spotlight is because you're here with me talking to me. You nothing. You
I don't know
nobody.
who you are. Who are you?
Oh, because you're a nobody. Nobody knows you. You freaking nothing.
No, a lot of people
Self-proclaimed-
know me. What are you talking
Still,
about?
This self-proclaimed nobody's telling me Solid Ice, a.k.a. that last man standing. Nobody knows
I have
you.
no idea. I've never heard of that. So it sounds like you're the nobody,
Exactly,
sir.
you're a nobody. That's what I'm saying.
No, it
The
sounds
only
like
reason
you're the
here in spot-
nobody. Because even if I was a nobody, I would have heard of
You're with me
somebody.
talking to me.
But you're not
Nobody
a
knows
somebody.
you.
You're a nobody.
Dude, I'm the nobody. Nobody fucking knows you with your
No, yes. Are you finally coming
emails,
to the
sir.
realization that you're not nearly as
Sir,
important as you
nobody
feel
knows
you are?
you. Dude, you are
Okay.
so gay. No, you can't even tell
See,
me.
you
one
gotta
thing the
obsess
Democratic-
over my sexuality instead
are
of
you
actually
talking
bringing
about?
an
How
argument.
many
I think that's
pictures have I
sad.
seen of Joe Biden's son like met and fucking with his dick in his hand?
Dude,
Sir, come
I've
on,
seen
man.
fucking so many pictures of Don Jr. being
How
coked
dare
the fuck
you?
out.
How can you sit there and be like, yeah, I'm a Democrat?
You're
Nothing to
damn
brag
right.
about, sir.
Proud Democrat,
Nothing to
my
brag
friend.
about, sir.
Proud
Nothing to brag
Democrat.
about. I'm surprised you. If you were outside your house, you'd be fucking looking over your shoulder because you know.
No, I
you know
walk
if you're
comfortably
fucking
outside my
gay,
house.
You're a lying little
I'm not
lady.
afraid of
You
little
lying
boys like
little
you.
zero. You
Not
lying
afraid of little
zero.
boys like
Nobody
you.
believes you. I don't believe you, sir. Nobody believes you, you little nobody.
Okay, are
Get
you
it.
done having your crash
Then
out? Do you
tell
want to
me
have an actual
stand
conversation, or do you want to
don't
keep
stand
talking about
tall.
sex?
I want to hear
I'm
you. I
sorry
wanna
you
hear
don't
what-
get
I
it.
wanna
I'm
hear what the
sorry you don't
Democrats
get
have
it on
done
the
for you.
weekend, sir.
I want to hear what the Democrats have done for you that makes you so confident. You don't even know. What the
Yes,
fuck
I
are you
do.
going
I've
on about?
mentioned how the Democrats are trying
Dude,
to bring
I've
down
known people,
affordability.
dude, I've had
The
relatives that
Democrats
had
are
no
trying
money,
to
sir.
help with healthcare and trying to bring a
no
public
money,
option.
And they couldn't even get on fucking Obamacare. They had
Oh,
no
this is
money
interesting.
for years.
Is this true?
Obamacare
Is this
didn't do
true?
nothing
Do
for
you
them.
support
And they sound
pedophiles,
so
sir?
confident. They want more
Do you
money for
support
it.
pedophiles? I'm getting confirmation.
That's-
You support
You're a
pedophiles.
Democrat. You clearly do. Because when I hear Democrat and every Republican hears Democrat, we hear pedophile. We
That's
think
great.
of methamphetamine, Joe Biden. We think of that's what we
See,
think
when
of.
I hear
You're
Republican,
pedophile.
I think
We will
of
not be your
someone
friends.
lighting
We will never
themselves
be
on
friends. We
fire
will never
because
be you.
a Republican has
Sir,
abused
We
them.
will never be you. Your party is a
Yes, I
everything you
can.
try
I know
to-
you will not be
everything
intelligent.
You are,
I
you
understand
try
that.
to project onto the Republicans. You are a party of pedophiles.
You know, I
sir.
think this is true.
You are a party
Goopinder
of-
put
you
it out.
are.
This caller
Just like
is
with that
bigly
Ming and
in
Eric
love with
Shaw.
me.
What
Why are you
happened
in
with
love
Eric
with
Shaw?
me?
What happened
We
with
kicked
Eric,
him out
sir?
of our
Why did
party.
he have to
I'm sorry
resign?
it took so long
Because
for you
he's
guys
an
to kick
pedophile.
Gonzalez out of your party, but we kicked him out of our party. We
Time and
kick
time
creepers out
again,
of our
sir.
party, unlike you.
Fucking Epstein list, they get it. Oh, now they don't want it. You need to make up your mind. You're just a
What?
party of dude, you're sick. One day you're
Okay.
gonna look back on it and you
Listen,
might not see it.
I'm
promise
gonna
you,
move
you're
on to the
sick.
next caller, but I
Dude, you're a
highly
bitch. Move
recommend.
on, you little fucking
I
nobody.
highly
That's right,
recommend you get some
Just
mental
fucking
health,
smack, you
because
little zero.
mental
Go back
health
to your little
help, because
fucking
I
no
can
good
tell
life.
you need it.
Go back to your sad fucking no good broke life. you
Listen,
fucking
I'm
zero.
sorry that people
nothing,
enjoy listening to me
gonna
and they
be
don't
nothing.
enjoy listening to
You're a
you.
bitch. You're trying to run away. You're telling me you have this argument, and you can't even tell me one thing they done.
What
do they
was your
do?
argument when you came
What do
on
you
here?
do?
What was your
What do
argument?
you do? What's that? My argument?
Yeah.
No, I just want you to know. I just want you to know that we think you're a fucking loon. And
That's
you know
great.
it deep down. We're
I
always
think
gonna
you're
keep
pretty. I
fucking
think you're pretty
whether you have a
stupid,
wig
but
on,
that doesn't prevent
there's
me
nothing
from
to
talking
brag
to
about,
you.
sir. The
And I think
Democratic
it's
Party
sad. I
is
think it's
nothing to
sad
fucking
you need
brag
your
about.
butt buddy to help you out in a debate, bro. That's so sad. Why don't you debate me yourself like a
The
man?
Republican Party, what he killed
Why don't
was
you
the
debate me
Democratic
yourself like a
Party.
man?
That's
Why
all
don't
he
you
wrote.
debate me yourself like a man?
Yeah. Huh?
Why don't you debate me yourself like a man? Why do you need a
Bitch, I'm
friend
right
there?
Here debating. I'm here, sir. There is nobody else. How did I?
No, there is. I heard them in the
Who the
background.
fuck is it? Who?
I don't know.
Who?
Can I talk to them? They seem more intelligent than
Who the
you.
fuck is Ben? I'm the only one in here. It's me, you, and me.
I
You
don't
didn't
know,
know
man. It
what?
seems like you were
You didn't
talking to
know
someone
what?
else.
You didn't know. It's me, and myself, sir. That's what I'm saying. I'm way out of your league. You haven't told me one good thing, sir.
Well,
That's
you
what I'm
haven't
saying.
told
They
me
haven't
one
told me
good
one good
thing
thing.
either. We've just
I
kind of
already
been
told you what
insulting each
Obamacare-
other.
I already at least told you Obamacare was horrible. It did nothing for anybody.
Obamacare was
What
horrible,
has
yet it
Obamacare ever
helped
done? And you
over
sound
20
confident,
million
oh,
people
Obamacare.
get insurance. So I don't see it as
You're
a
full of
horrible
shit.
thing.
I'm gonna tell you what everybody else fucking knows and says. You're a
Okay.
bitch and you're full of shit, sir. You're full of shit.
God, immediately
You're
hit
gonna
with facts,
stand
and he
there
has to
and tell
soy
me-
out like this. Sad guy.
That's exactly. See, you hear him projecting onto me. We're thinking he's a soy boy bitch when we're
Yeah,
everybody-
see, like
He
like
tried to say
you're
me-
saying you're not
Dude,
with
not
somebody, but
everybody
you're
knows I'll
you're
smack you,
talking
dude.
with as if
Everybody
there's
knows I'll
multiple
punch you
people
through the
there.
fucking door, dude. Everybody knows I'll punch you through the door. They don't believe you. when
I
you
don't
call me
think
soy.
so. I think you
You're
would
a liar,
be
sir.
horrified
This
to
guy's
see me in
saying
real
I'm a
life.
bitch.
You would
This guy's
cower
saying
in
I'm a
your
bitch.
boots. You would
He's telling me
cower
I
in your
won't-
boots.
I beat up Democrats every chance I get, whether I'm at work.
Yeah, and you said you're not a violent
golf course
person.
or wherever.
You're a violent
Yeah, I
person
do
that
it.
I don't recommend
Yeah.
people listen
No,
to.
but you gotta back
Why
that
would we
shit up. You
listen to
start
a
talking-
violent person
no,
like
but
yourself?
if you start talking that gay pedophile shit to me, I'm a fucking.
I'm not the one
I don't give
talking
a
about,
fuck.
gay pedophile shit.
No, because
I'm
that's
not
what
the
the
one
Democrats-
defending the guy. I'm not the one defending the
upon those,
guy
right?
who literally said he can
The
walk into women's
your fucking
dressing
party is
rooms
nothing
and
to
grab
brag
them by the
about.
pussy.
Maybe like
I'm
10
not the one
maybe like in
defending that.
2013
You
or
are.
14, before
So
everybody knew
please,
the
man.
Democratic Party, you could hold your
I'm
head
gonna
high, but you're
recommend
looking at-
something, okay?
you cannot
I
hold
would
your head up high no more.
recommend
I just want
actually
you to know.
going into like some Discord servers and debating before you call in, because
Dude,
you're
I don't do that
obviously
shit.
very
I
bad at
freestyle the shit. I
this.
take it to wherever.
You're
else, dude.
obviously
You know
very
that.
bad at
I
this.
am
So
solid ice.
I'm gonna hang
promise
up
you
on
I've
you
been
because
Van
you're
Horn and believe me,
obviously
you don't gotta
not
tell
here
me
to
how I do
debate.
this. You
You're
don't gotta tell me
obviously
how I
here
do
to
this. I
just
know
try
what
to
I'm doing.
talk
This
to
is my
me.
first-
And
You're not
I
even a good talker.
appreciate
This
that
is my
you
first
find me
time.
so attractive,
This isn't even a
but
you're not
I'm
even a
gonna
good
wait
talker. Nothing
until
to
you
brag
actually
about.
have a real
Nothing to brag
argument.
about.
So
There's no
he can call me back when he's grown up. Poor guy. Poor guy. I feel bad for that guy. Color has a Trump blow-up doll. Yeah, for sure, man. Solid Ice. Never heard of the man. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, feel free to call in. Although I did get some call-ins, so I'm going to call them back real quick.
Hello?
Hey, you called into the show?
Yeah, I called like 20 times.
Yeah, I didn't notice that. So, do you disagree with anything I've said on the live or with what
No, actually,
with the prompt?
I have a few things to say, though. For one, good job with that last caller. And I just came across your channel. It's pretty fucking cool. For
Oh,
two,
thank
fuck
you.
Trump.
Amen.
And for three, that guy is, I don't know. I think he's an immature, uneducated, violent little bitch boy.
Amen.
He's still in the closet and hides behind a Republican Party.
That's what I'm saying. I think, it's always the callers that say, oh, you sound like a girl. And they quickly show some homoerotic tendencies. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah. They all
I
like to
just
hide
hope he
behind
can
MAGA,
come out of the
you know.
closet someday. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, me too. I don't think he loves himself enough. I don't think he's ready
That's
to
what I
accept who he
think.
really is.
That's what I was thinking.
know?
Well, typically, brother, I do like to have friendly call-ins if we hit our super chat goal, and it'll be in the last
Yeah,
hour.
sounds
So
good.
yeah, feel free.
You got your priorities. I get what you're getting at. Hey, man, you have a good one.
Yeah, you have a great day, man. Take care. I
All right,
really
I'll
appreciate
see you,
it. I
man.
do. Yeah,
Yeah.
peace.
Yeah, for sure. Have a good one. Bye.
You too. Hey, shout out. That guy, see, that guy is a Chad. That guy probably has a jawline that would make Arnold Schwarzenegger tremble. That man is a Chad. The other guy, total soy. Total soy. Solid Ice, guys. Look out for him. Anyways, I did have one more call that I wanted to call in, but if you guys disagree, feel free to call in.
Hello.
Hey, you called into the show?
Yeah, hey, I actually just wanted to say, I know you probably want people who are calling who disagree, but I think my point's kind of unique because I've been right my entire life. I just got out of the military, and I voted for Trump in 2016, and I just wanted to say, like, dude, the dude's gone completely fucking insane. And I think like all of my friends are pretty much in the same boat now, and we're all like young veterans, like pretty much people you would think would be like his base.
Yeah.
Right. And we're all like, most of us at least are just like, you can't defend the dude. First of all, and I'm a devout Christian, Orthodox Christian.
Oh yeah.
He just posted like a picture, AI picture, where he clearly knew he was Jesus. Okay,
Oh no, he
like
was a doctor apparently.
yeah, no, it's just
I've never
insane, man.
seen a
And like,
doctor
and
in that getup.
he's funding a genocide in Gaza. Like U.S. bombs are being used to kill children, and it's just like I'm just black-pilled on it. I give up, dude. There's no hope. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not supporting the left either, but I'm just saying this is definitely not it. Like
Well,
whatever this is. So
what
I
I
just wanted
would
to share
say,
that.
yeah, we do. What I would say to that is we do have more moderate Democrats in our party that were basically like never Trumpers. And I think people like Mark Kelly are people that people in the military can get behind. This guy has a huge pedigree and he respects our Constitution. So I would look into characters like Mark Kelly. I think he's actually a really cool dude. But
Ye-
I think a lot of people are in your position where of course, they supported the America First agenda, the idea of putting America before every other country, but Donald Trump just isn't delivering on that. It feels, I think he lied, and I think that's very heartbreaking because it makes people not want to engage with the voting system. And, we can have real change. I believe in it. So, I wouldn't, keep hope. That's always what I try to advocate for is keeping hope. There is hope for our democracy. I know things look very dire right now, but things will be on the up. They
I
will
have a
be.
question for you. I have a question for you. So, like, I used to have hope, but like, when I found out that Congress, 88% of congressmen, their number one donor is AIPAC. So, like, where's the hope when 88% of our congressmen's number one donor is a foreign lobby?
Well,
Like,
so what we would have to do to get rid of AIPAC, essentially, because I agree. I think AIPAC in these next election cycles it's a pretty politically toxic thing for both the right and the left. I don't think we'll be seeing much more AIPAC money. But what I would say is we need to have a constitutional amendment that makes things like Citizen United illegal. So that way we can't have these interest groups pouring
well, I don't know
money.
how it isn't illegal because it's illegal for like any other country, right? It's illegal
Well,
for any other country, but AIPAC says
yeah.
they're not Israel. But it's
So
like
what
I
Yeah, what you would have to do, it all comes down to a case, Citizens United versus the United States, and it all basically comes down to that case where the Supreme Court ruled that Citizens United is allowed to stay. So what it would take is a constitutional amendment, a 2/3
yeah
vote from Congress,
yeah.
and we can get rid of things like that. And Democrats, hey, I don't deny my biases, but Democrats support that, and I fully support that
It's
because
just so hard to get behind any political movement nowadays because there's things I agree with you on, but if I vote for a Democrat, there's so much shit I don't like, right? And same with Trump. Like I would never vote for Trump now, but there's stuff I like about him. So I guess like maybe becoming a voter, a responsible voter, is accepting that it's just going to be you have to pick the lesser of two evils, and that's depressing.
Well, I don't see it quite like that. When I vote for a candidate, when I put my support behind a candidate, I look at what they've supported. I look at their policies. And that's why I bring up someone like Mark Kelly, because Mark Kelly is entirely funded by his supporters. He is one of the rare exceptions that doesn't take AIPAC money. At least that's what he said on an interview. And from what I've looked into, he doesn't take any money. So,
If he really
that's
hadn't
what gives
taken any
me,
money, I would be genuinely intrigued to learn more because that would be,
yeah.
that tells me it's someone with character. And I'm not saying, listen, like I'm not sitting here, I'm not. It's just,
No, I know
it's
what you're
hard, I
saying,
get, for
man.
these people to turn down money when you're in a political race. I get that because
Yeah.
money's votes, but like, it doesn't look good when you take money from basically a country and then you vote on, are we going to give them aid? Like we give Egypt, like it's like $1.6 billion a year to not attack Israel. Did you know that? We give them, it's
Uh,
literally,
well, it's also Egypt is a very big strategic partner in the region, but yes, there is money to
well,
keep
but what does
relationships
that
good.
mean? Oh, but what does that, because I hear verbiage like it all the time. Oh, they're such a strategic partner in the region.
So,
Why do we care?
well, the
Why do we
reason
care
we
about that
care,
region?
yeah, so
We
the
have
reason we
homeless people
care,
here. We have a
no, no,
drug epidemic here.
I
Who
agree.
cares about the Middle East? Let's get the hell out of there. Okay, let them just do. That's not our land. Let them do it, dude. Like, let them figure it the fuck out. And then like we've got to stop spending money because they're strategic partners. We have to stop doing this. Why do we
Yeah,
have our
so
hands in everything? The United States has no right to touch land thousands of miles away because it's in our national security interests. Dude,
well,
we're
I
nationally secure.
disagree. So here's what I would say about why we have such a presence in the Middle East and why we have presence all around the world. It's because it's hard to accept this fact, but we are the world police. Because if we don't be the world police, someone like Russia or China are going to sneak in, and the deals they make with countries are in far and away worse for the country. For example,
Well,
in Africa, do you
mhm.
remember all the news about the Belt and Road Initiative and how it was basically China trying to reorient trade towards
Well,
their way? Well, it was a big a project for infrastructure in different countries, but if you look at the infrastructure, it's just a road leading to the mine to the port for China. And it's similar projects like that. At least with
absolutely.
America, we do try, or
Well,
I do think we
okay. Let me push
try
back.
to
Can I
be a
push
little
back real?
bit more. Yeah, of
Let,
course.
let me push back on that because with America, I think it looks like it's more honorable, but in reality, the United States of America has a long-standing, just consistent history of regime changing countries against their will and then leaving. And everyone that we partnered with, we leave everyone we partnered with in that country. They're all killed, and the country falls into poverty or stays in poverty. Like, it's going to happen in Venezuela. It happened in Afghanistan. I mean, Cuba. It
No,
happened in
yeah, I
Cuba,
think what
right?
happened,
Like, so, but I
Afghanistan
get
for
what you're
me
saying. I
is,
can agree to
yeah.
parts of what you're saying because at the end of the day, if we completely, what's the word for someone who wants no, like an isolationist? If we become isolationist, in 100 years, we're going to be irrelevant, right? And
Yeah.
so I can agree to that. But what I'm saying is like, why can't we just stop bombing
No,
people?
I
Dude,
agree
why
with
don't we
that.
just like listen, Russia, China, I get it, but why can't like I would much rather be friendly with Russia and China than have this fucking Cold War that never ended going
Well,
on
hey,
where
what I would say to that is I mean America wanted to be much cooler with Russia. The reason that we didn't immediately have a military response
well,
when they invaded Crimea is because we thought, okay,
well,
this is
Crimea
just
was disputed
Putin
territory.
being
So the only reason that you say they invaded Crimea is because I mean because our history books and what we're taught in America is different than what their reality is. And in Russian
well,
reality, Crimea was Russian territory. That's what they believed. And so, that's a disputed topic all in itself. And also, we put NATO on the border of Russia.
I
Russia
mean,
said if
it
you put
shouldn't be a
NATO once.
problem if they don't invade. If they don't
Okay,
invade
so
other
okay, let me
countries, it
ask you a
shouldn't be a
question. Let me ask
problem.
you a question. Okay. Are you okay with Russia putting anti-nuclear missiles in Mexico? Meaning it basically damaging our nuclear triad, basically putting, so if we tried to launch, Minutemen or ICBMs, they could shoot them down from Mexico. Are you okay with that? Because
I
that's what we
mean,
did
I
with you.
don't
Well, no, we
Yeah,
we,
well,
we
I
did
don't
that to
think.
them.
I mean, Russia would have to increase their relations with Mexico. Mexico and Russia aren't great
No,
friends.
no. But answer the question. Are you okay
Would
if
I
they
be
became friends?
okay with that?
It's basically the Bay of
Probably.
Pigs, right? Right? Because
Yeah.
that's what happened with. Yeah. So we did that to them. We did that to them, and they said, "Hey, we're going to invade Ukraine." They're, they sent a letter to Joe Biden 2 weeks before they invaded Ukraine. This is true, saying if you offer NATO citizenship to Ukraine, or if you even hint at it, we're going to invade Ukraine before they can
Well,
become part of NATO.
that's not their decision to make. It's
No, no,
Ukraine's
no, no.
decision to
Why?
make.
Why? No, no, no. Because NATO is
Yes.
a strategic alliance against Russian interest.
It's
I'm
not
not
near
sitting here.
it's not only against Russian interests though.
Yeah, you're right.
Because
It's
we
against.
intervened in
You're not
Bosnia
wrong.
and stopped the Bosnian
Yeah,
genocide.
absolutely. I'm not saying just no, hold on. I'm not saying just Russian interest. I'm saying, but from their perspective, NATO is an adversary. So they were saying, hey, let's have peace. We need buffer states. I'm totally for buffer states. They're saying we need buffer states or
But what if the
spaces between
people
us.
of that state don't want to be part of the Russian Empire? They want to be with Europe. They feel a relationship with Europe that they don't feel with Russia.
Yeah, okay, so now we're getting into a philosophical debate, right? Because now you're saying, well, like, yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
that's
I
their
mean, of
free will,
course,
right? And then I'd say, okay, you're right, but
nations have a
if we're
right to sovereignty.
you're absolutely right, but these are two different arguments, because the first argument we're having is about the reality, right? Russia and the United States are global superpowers, okay? And earlier you were talking about how the United States gets to be the world police. So I would counter. I would use your own words against you and say, well, why do we have that right to be the world police against anyone else then, right? And the reality is because
we're the number one economy in the world. We make the most money. Just like
well,
simply
yeah,
put, that's the reason.
you're right, and the sad thing about that is I'm terrified that's going to go away, because do you know why we're the number one economy in the world? Is the petrodollar, right? It's the only reason.
I'm horrified to. Well, I do think a lot of our services that are offered are pretty unique to America, but I don't deny the petrodollar is a huge reason, and I agree with you. Like attacking Iran, and it just makes the petrodollar worse. It makes it less reliable.
Also, man, at the end of the day, like, I'm 28. I'm not a fucking expert on all this shit, right? This is just what I feel. Yeah. So I'm not trying to come off like I don't know, but
No,
I
you're
do
good,
know
brother.
that I don't want any more foreign children to be killed by U.S. bombs. Like, I'm totally against that. You know what I mean?
think that's
and as a veteran, if they tried to
that's a
draft me
good-
right now, I would tell them to go fuck themselves. Like, I would actually
it's
tell
an
them to go
unjust
fuck
war.
themselves.
It's just not just. Like all of our intelligence agencies were saying Iran is not close to being able to nuke the U.S.
Oh, I'm so glad you just said that, dude. Dude, and fucking Israel gave false information. Dude, they've been 2 weeks away from a nuke since 1985, bro.
Well, I think a competent diplomat would have been able to get them to the. I don't think we're sending our best when we send Steve Witkoff and fucking.
Yeah, that guy's a fucking idiot,
Jared
dude. That guy's
Kushner.
Like,
Jared
what
Kushner's
are we
doing?
Yeah, dude. Well, and like they have. Well, and also it's just like it doesn't look good when you have a lot of these people are, they literally have family in the Israeli government, and it's like, and they're lobbying our president for foreign interest. Like,
so the
we
reason
had what's that senator that looks like a lizard, the Republican who keeps
Are you
falling?
talking about Ted Cruz?
No, no, Lindsey Graham, bro. Lindsey Graham.
Dude, that guy is fucking
Lindsey
pretty bad
Graham. 2 weeks before we went to war with Iran, Lindsey Graham was in Israel explaining to Netanyahu on how to lobby our president for Israeli interests, and he came back and he bragged about that.
Yeah, no,
So
I think that's despicable.
Explain that to someone like they're a 5-year-old, right? You have like a U.S. representative of government in a foreign country explaining to that president how to then go to our president and convince him to do his bidding.
I've said this from the start, and I think Donald Trump getting elected is worse for Israel's sake. Like, if you're an Israeli, no, it is because now everybody hates Israel. You know what I mean? And I don't blame people for being mad at Israel, but everybody hates Israel now, and so I feel we're not gonna have any support. Yeah, I feel like we're
that's
not
actually
gonna
a good point. Because 2016, I didn't care about Israel at all, and now I really don't
it's like
them.
center stage because
because we keep getting dragged into this shit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Donald Trump, since he's such a weak leader, he's not able to dissuade Israel from attacking. That's why I do believe Marco Rubio when he said Israel said they were going to attack, and if we did not attack with them, they're going to attack anyways. They took advantage of the fact we had troops there. And
but
I think we got to reevaluate our relationship with them right now.
Totally,
and it breaks my
do.
heart because I don't want them going to someone like Russia, who's just going to allow even more horrors to happen. But I also think there should be a punishment for not taking taking our military lives seriously and not taking their citizens' lives seriously.
Well, and what about the children in Iran, dude? Like, the innocence that is being just decimated. I mean, do you know how many? I heard this. I don't know if this is true, so you can correct me if I'm wrong. But I heard it's like in the last 2 years in Gaza, it's like 30,000 civilians have died.
I think 30,000 is a conservative. I've heard it's somewhere near. Well, the issue what's going on in Gaza,
Maybe
it
that
is
was
very
children.
hard to verify who's a civilian and who's not. But I'd say it's
Yeah.
probably near like at the very least 100,000 people
That's
have
so
died,
many people.
and it's
People don't
pretty
even know how many
disgusting.
people
Yeah,
that is. People get
yeah.
desensitized to numbers because there's so many of us. But 100,000 people dead is insane, and it's
Now,
literally it's funded, dude. These are our weapons. We give
no, I
Israeli
agree.
like these are. It's just so sad. And
No,
as
it
the
is
world
very
police, like
sad.
you say, because we are. I'm not disputing we are. But when you
Yeah, we
are
gotta
the
hold
number one
these.
superpower, you're
Amen.
responsible.
You gotta
You're
hold these countries
responsible, dude.
accountable. No, I
It's
agree.
and like, have you heard the argument that I actually used to use because I came up on Ben Shapiro. That's who made
Oh
me a
yeah,
conservative, by the way. Fucking
got you, got
thinking
you.
back is hilarious. But I used to use the argument. I was like, listen, Hamas is firing rockets from underneath schools. Like they have no choice. And then when I grew up, I realized, listen, if there's a bank robbery going on, okay, the police don't go in there and shoot through all of the hostages to kill the bad guys. Like,
Yeah, no, I
you're
agree. They've been way too wanton with their weaponry, and at the very least, under Biden, he said, "No, you can't use these bombs that are gonna fucking vaporize people." Trump is just giving them
yeah.
a fucking just writing the fucking check, and it's ridiculous because it makes us look weak,
Well, we look
even if
we look stupid. We actually
yeah, we
look.
look
I feel like we look
because.
dumb right now.
No, I very much agree, and it breaks my heart because America for such a long time was seen as like the institution that defended against tyranny and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And now like look what Vance was doing during this ceasefire deal. He was going and campaigning for Viktor Orban, who just got fucking decimated. So
Yeah, I
what's
don't
the
even know anything
fucking
about
point? What's the
the
point?
South
Why did
America
you
shit
go?
that's going on right now, but
Oh yeah.
uh,
Well, what happened in Hungary is Viktor Orban, very close to Russia.
Hungary. I
Yeah.
thought you were talking about because didn't the guy just get arrested by ICE from Brazil? I thought that's what you were talking about.
I I haven't heard about that,
Yeah,
but
that happened yesterday. The head of the intelligence for like Brazil, who was like working with the U.S. last year. I think it was Brazil. He was working with the U.S. last year to I don't know, but
yeah,
it
I'll
didn't
look
work,
into
and
it.
he fled to the U.S. and they're trying to lobby the U.S. to extradite him, and then ICE just arrested him. I don't know.
That's
So that's what
fucking
I thought you were talking
ridiculous.
about. But you're talking about Hungary.
Oh yeah, so Viktor Orban was like he was prime minister for 16 years, and he got absolutely decimated in this recent election.
Is he
And it's
right leaning conservative?
he's like he's definitely he is more on the right side. He was originally part of Viktor Orban's party, but he's definitely more pro Europe, pro making sure that NATO isn't compromised by Russia. He's a very anti-Russian person too. So,
Well,
you
NATO
know, it
doesn't
just
even work
what.
though, dude. 'Cause it's the Security Council. It's just a fucking joke. Like you
Oh
can't
yeah,
even.
I think the UN need. I
The
mean the
veto
only.
system is literally hilarious. It's literally hilarious. It's like The Simpsons made it up.
I mean, I'm proud of NATO personally, just because of what we were able to accomplish with it. You know, but I it does scare me when Donald Trump says things like I'm gonna pull out of NATO, which just to put down the rumors, he can't do that. It would take a 2/3 vote in Senate. But it
Well, and
just
that's
makes
it's sad
people.
too, because
Oh,
NATO, the only time NATO's ever been the Article 5's been invoked was after 9/11, and every single
yeah.
country came to help us.
And now we're yelling at them because they don't want to go into a war with Iran. Dude, I think that's sad because I think the European nations are thinking America might not win this. And if America doesn't win this, we have to deal with Iran. So I think they're thinking
Well,
very
we
much
could.
for
Well,
what the future
well,
brings.
Well, it's because we started a war where there's no clear like there
Yeah.
isn't. How do you win it is the problem. It's not that the United States doesn't have the military power to just decimate. We could bomb the entire country into oblivion without using nukes. I would be mortified. We shouldn't. But it's like, how do you win? You can't open the strait without just diplomatic. The only way to open the strait is diplomatically, because two
Exactly.
dudes and a Toyota with a freaking drone in the back can destroy a multi-million-dollar oil tanker.
Amen. And I do think I very much agree. The only solution to this is a diplomatic solution. And now, they didn't have the Strait of Hormuz as a poker chip in their back pocket. Now they do. Now they have
Yeah.
that ability to threaten the Strait of Hormuz and threaten it convincingly enough to where it stops trade. So,
I
yeah,
think it's
I
crazy
think
that
this
they're
was
still
just
standing, like they still have government. Like I think it's crazy they still have a government structure after the amount of
well,
people.
they've been fucking preparing for this. They knew damn,
Yeah.
it's very interesting. Like, we did the thing that they honestly kind of wanted. They it gives them legitimacy if they stand up to
Yeah. Well, and they're
America
very
and
strong. Like
Israel.
they're very proud in their faith, and I get that. Like I'm a devout Christian, right? And if I was
Yeah.
ever fighting a war and my faith was involved, the level of it's a different thing now. You know what I
No,
mean?
yeah,
Like,
it's they have to do to win is survive. And I don't deny the regime they've done horrible things, and I don't want this regime to survive either, but it's not like we can just go in there and bomb them and hope for the best. These
no, dude, no, look at the last 20 countries we've done it with. It works great, bro. What do you
Oh,
mean?
yeah. Well, we have ways to do this. If we really wanted regime change, we could have put CIA cells in there. Like, for example, Stuxnet. That was a CIA invention that made their nuclear system stop enriching. There are so many other ways than just bombing them and hoping for the best. It's very sad, and
That
it
really is what
shows
we're doing, by the way. That's a great way of putting it. We're just bombing them and
we're just
and just
bombing them and hoping
and
for the best.
literally, like I want to know what these briefs are like. Like when because at
Oh,
some point
yeah.
Trump has to sit there with the military guy who's going to tell him we're going to do this and this is the outcome. And so what was said, like, okay, so we're gonna destroy their
Yeah.
blah 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 blah, and then hopefully they just give up. That had to be the end result. He was like, we're just going to blow them into oblivion. They're going to give up. And they just didn't give up. And now you realize that you can't. Now we're just stuck. And Trump is
Yeah.
kind of fucked here. Like if I was a
Oh,
Democrat, I would be
yes.
so happy because Trump
Well,
is, dude, the
I'm not
midterms are going to be a
happy.
bloodbath.
Well,
The midterms,
yeah, oh, for sure. Trump
it's
is
going to
definitely,
be,
this is going to be a huge rejection of the MAGA movement, in my opinion. And I
oh,
think that'll
Republicans are going to
last.
lose everywhere. It's just because,
Yeah.
yeah, it's going to be devastating. I mean, not
Well,
that I care because I'm not a Republican, but
yeah, for sure. Well, what I would say is that I do think the Iranian situation does just show how incompetent this dude is, and he's lost it, like you said. I don't like to use that because everybody said Biden lost it and all that, but this man is not making like sense. He's
I
not.
think he's there mentally, but I think he's lost it in a different way. I think he's lost it in he has literally his ego has become so
Yeah,
large
that's a
that
great
like I
way to
think he's
put it.
making decisions like coherent decisions to him, meaning like I think they're wrong decisions, right? You see what I'm saying? Like I don't think he's
Yeah,
demented,
like to
but
him
I
it
think
makes
he
sense.
literally has surrounded himself. He already had a massive ego, and I have an ego too, okay, but it's not that big. And then he surrounded himself with these people that just said to that ego, and so
Oh
now
yeah.
I think he is in a loop where I don't think he knows how bad this is because people are
Yeah.
probably shielding him,
No,
you
I
know?
agree. I don't think he realizes how much of a rejection
Well,
this
do you know
war
how
of
hard it is
Iran has
for
created.
a guy like that to lose a ton of young military dudes as supporters? Like, do you know how bad that is?
Oh yeah,
That's
I see
so
that.
bad,
Like
bro.
it's horrible.
The
These
military is
are
95% right leaning. It is, or at least the infantry, which is where I was. And like, dude, we're done. We're not even. We're just blackpilled now, though. Like, I don't see myself ever voting again because
well, I would I wouldn't, it's easy to get blackpilled, especially with Trump and, he is exposing some flaws in our democracy for sure, but
yeah,
there's always room to improve. This is a government created by us, and so we are the only people that are able to change it for the better. So I would keep I would keep being engaged in politics, maybe take a couple weeks off if it's getting too much, because I understand, engaging with politics every day. It does
wars.
seem
It's
like
like I need us to get
very
out of
bad,
wars,
but
bro. We have been in consistent war. Like, when was the last time we were at war for like? Has there been a period of 3 years we haven't been at war in the last like 30 years? I don't think so. And so it's just like we
Oh
need to
yeah.
get out of these wars.
No, I agree. We need to focus on people here. Like you said, there's like almost 1 million people that are homeless in America, and that should not happen in the wealthiest nation on the fucking planet,
No,
you
we can
know?
make things so good here, and it's not even the homeless people; it's the people who are just getting by. Like,
Oh yeah,
I'm
that's a big
28,
issue
and
too.
the older I get, the more I realize that like crime rates and poverty are just like, dude, if people have a better life, they are so much less likely to commit these crimes. And so if you
Amen.
make the economy good and you take care of people, dude, everything else gets better. Everything else
Oh
around it gets
yeah.
better.
Well, that's
And
why I
so,
advocate for like a public option to eventual universal health care because I personally do deal with some mental health struggles and it's extremely fucking expensive to buy my pills and to go to these therapy appointments. And I don't think people should deal with that, you know, especially in America.
yeah,
And
we
I
should
feel,
100% have universal health care. Like that, like
yeah, for
it's the
sure.
craziest thing that we don't. I think you should have the ability to have private, because with universal there's going to be long wait times and stuff, and
Yep.
you should still try to work on making the system as efficient as possible, but even in an efficient system with a large country there's going to be waits, right? So you should be able to pay extra if you want. Like, I'm not,
No,
you
yeah.
shouldn't be punished for being successful.
I would
But
look into the policy position of a public option. I really do think it would greatly help a lot of Americans right now because
dude, yeah, like,
that's what that would be. It would be a mix of kind of like the post office, you know. You've got your post office and then you've got private mailing services. So,
exactly. It's just insane. I guarantee you, if you introduced public health care, crime rate would go down slightly. I guarantee it.
oh
Like,
yeah,
it just,
definitely.
you're just taking, dude, and it's also just like a basic. First of all the people who say they're Christian who are in these positions of power, if you're a Christian, you're against public health care. Like, I'm confused.
Yeah,
I'm now I'm
I
now I'm
agree.
confused, right? Because like,
Yeah.
dude, that's like the basic. Like, I just had COVID 3 months ago, and I got vestibular neuritis
Oh,
after, which is
geez, I'm sorry to hear
inflammation of
about that.
nerves in your
Yeah.
brain. And
Oh,
so I had to go
geez,
to the
man.
hospital for the first time in my life, and I never got insurance when I got out of the military because like I just didn't do it. Dude, holy shit.
It's
I was
expensive as
like,
fuck.
dude, I was terrified because, like, with your brain, I was having to see neurologists and stuff. And
Yeah.
that's what kind of just showed me, like, this system is not right. Like, this
Yeah, it
is
doesn't work
not.
for the people. It really doesn't. And that, you know, I do think we can make some meaningful steps towards making life easier. Like we really can. There's not a lot of
Oh,
roadblocks
yeah. Well, what do
to
you think
making these
about.
things.
What do you think about stopping corporations or investment companies from buying family homes?
Well, I actually am a little more radical in that. I think we got to break up these major corporations, man.
That's not right.
They're a classic
Well, breakup
monopoly,
is
you know.
radical. Breakup is radical. But
Well,
wait,
I think
what
they're
corporations?
like
Like
look what we
BlackRock and.
BlackRock would be one of them. Amazon, you know, there should be four Amazons, not one
So
Amazon.
how would you stop
Walmart.
it? So let me ask you: you break them up, and then how do you stop them from reforming? You basically put a cap on market share. Like, how do you stop a company from BlackRock? Because what is BlackRock, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's just like a ton of it's a large capital company that invests
Yeah.
that capital, right?
Yes.
So then what do? You say this is the most amount of capital a company can control in the market. Is that what you do to
You
stop it from
might do
happening?
that. There's some interesting plans I've seen with making it to where they can only have a certain amount of property. They can only
Yeah,
have
that
like
we have to do that, dude, because the house,
yeah.
the cost of rent it's insane, man. Like,
I live in Kansas, which is historically low rent prices, but even
yeah.
here we're seeing like $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month for just single bedroom homes, and
Well, it hasn't gone up with the rate of income. Like, and we like I used to think that when people talked about, oh, well, rent used to be $200 like 60 years ago, I was like, well, yeah, but wages were way lower. But then I saw a graph of
oh
wages
yeah,
and the cost of rent, and it's not even close. Like,
no,
rent
not at
is
all.
like 6 times higher than it used to be compared to wages.
And
And
I
so,
do think it is because of those capital firms, like you said, the private equity capital firms, and There's a lot of issues with it, but I do feel like we can fix that. You know, back in the 20s, that's what I look for. Or even before that, we broke up a lot of oil companies that had a huge market share that didn't, classic monopolies. And I think that's what we're seeing right now. And we have history of dealing with these things. So I don't think it'd be nearly as hard to break these companies up. And I think if you do that, they'll have to treat their workers better. They'll have to pay them a better wage.
That's a great point. I wasn't thinking about that because right now there's what, like 5 or 6 major U.S. oil companies, something like that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, if you have 25 of them, now there's way more competition, right?
Exactly. I think
So
it's
that's a
better
great
for the
point.
consumer and it's better for the employee because then the employee is seen as much more of an independent agent. Right now, if you're the only company in town, they have to work for you if they're in that job set. But if you have 5 different companies that they can choose from, each company will have to offer, competing benefits and try to
Yeah.
advocate for why they are the better company to work for.
Well, and that's a great point. And here's the thing, though, no one's talking about that right now because everyone's talking about the war. And
Yeah,
we've been at war
exactly.
for 30 years. So it's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I feel like if we could just get out of these conflicts, it's just so sad, though, dude, because I feel like none of this is going to happen. That's the thing.
I
Like,
disagree. I think we can see positive change.
but I don't know. It's like the country hates itself so much. Like everyone, you know what I mean? Like the different
Oh
political
yeah.
sides.
Well,
So I
I
just
I
don't
don't
know.
hate I don't hate anybody that voted for Trump. I don't hate most members of MAGA. I just think they've been steeped in a lot of disinformation, and it's gonna take a choir to stand up to the speeches of one man, that being Donald Trump. So
Well, I
I
think that there is a change happening though on the right now that people might not know about because I think it's happening like right now. I think that the
oh
war
yeah
was the last. I think that this Iran conflict was the last straw for a lot of people like me. And so I don't think a lot of people on the left know this is happening yet because it's really new. But I really
oh
think
well
that
yeah.
that a lot of supporters on the right have been lost because this is insane, dude. And
I
so,
think that with the Jesus post, like,
dude, no, the
he
Jesus
might
post,
have
I
been
was like,
able he might
dude,
have been able to capture some people back, but with that Jesus post, bro, that's like straight
and
up
then he
blasphemy.
lied about it. Like, oh, I thought
Yeah,
it
a
was the
doctor.
doctor. Dude, do
So
you think we are
obvious.
actually 4 years old? Like, do you think we're
Yeah,
4 year
like
olds?
we're
It's
not.
just, I don't know, man. But hey, man, it's been great talking to you.
Yeah, for sure.
I respect your optimism. You know what I mean? And it's refreshing for
Yeah.
someone to have optimism.
Well, I'm
And
glad.
I try to be optimistic, but I think right now I'm just a little tired of all the bad news. You know, it's just
Yeah,
bad
like I
news out
said,
there.
I'd take a break from politics for a little bit, especially with all of this bullshit. But when you come back, there is hope. There's definitely a lot of hope that I'm seeing. I know a lot of people don't see it right now, but I'm seeing a lot of people that are fed up with Trump that want to bring back our democracy to something we recognize, and that does give me hope. That does
Yeah.
give me a lot of hope. But anyways, man, thanks for calling in. I think you're a cool dude, and I hope you have a great day, brother.
Hey man, God bless you. Good luck with the channel and everything. Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Take care,
All
dog.
right. You too. Bye.
Bye. All right, we got another call coming in. I really appreciate that, dude. He seems like a really cool guy, and I hope he keeps the hope, you know?
Call from. To accept, press 1. To send a voice.
Oh, never mind. All right, I did get a couple calls. I'll call that number that just called in back. By the way, if you guys are enjoying the stream, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. Hey, you called into the show?
Yeah, what? Hello?
Yeah. So, did
Oh,
you
hey,
disagree?
buddy.
Hey, how are you doing? Did you disagree with anything that has been said on the live so far or with the prompt?
Well, yeah, the last caller, he was a pretty intellectual guy. I always appreciate hearing from veterans.
Yeah.
Will you promise me you won't judge me for what I'm about to say?
Mm, Uh, well, if you say any slurs or anything, I'll probably have to
No,
kick you. But
I'm not.
besides that, no, not at all.
I'm the furthest thing from racist. So my wife and I started a new thing where we're seeing each other. Her new boyfriend, Tyrone, or his legal name is Tyrone. He's from the UK, and they had free health insurance there, and he was saying how great it is. And I just don't understand why we're bombing the balls off of all these other countries, giving all of our money to Ukraine and everything else. I just don't understand why we can't have universal health care here. Obamacare did so much, well, it did a lot of damage to me, but overall, I think it did so much good.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think universal health care would really benefit the country and move us in a positive direction for sure.
And universal basic income, UBI. I think
Um,
even that evil guy, Elon Musk, sheesh, he paid the most taxes any human
so
did in the
is this,
history.
yeah, I appreciate the memes, but do we want to get serious now?
No, I'm serious. I think universal health care would be a good thing because Don Tarius, he said when he was living in the UK, didn't have to pay for prescriptions. He has mental health issues. That's fine. Everything was paid for. But I just don't understand why we don't have it in the United States if we can spend $200 million for a missile. I was a Trump supporter until this Iran thing. Do you agree with the Iran war?
No, not necessarily. I think the regime's pretty evil, but I think a diplomatic solution would have been better for this.
What do you mean necessarily? Do you think we should? Something that's crazy to me is like whenever people talk about politics, they just get so angry and so confrontational. It's like, okay, we all have different views. It's fine. You have different, not necessarily you, but
Yeah, I know what you're
hypothetically,
saying. Yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
people just get so violent and crazy.
Well, I
Uh,
tried to have a pretty normal conversation with people, so yeah, I try to fight against that, the political toxicity. Sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes people yell at me, but I do try to fight against that.
yeah, I heard someone judging you because you're bisexual or something. That's disgusting that someone would judge you based off your sexual preference. If you like men, that's completely fine. If you like
Yeah,
women, okay.
no, for sure. Well,
I mean,
brother,
we're not. Oh, sorry. We're not.
Oh, well,
I was
I
just gonna
did
say
have some. Yeah, go off.
we're not an Islamic country where they throw the gay people off of rooftops. We're a civilized country here, and it's okay. It's fine. I actually live with a bunch. Or, sorry, when I say a bunch, that sounds disrespectful. I live with two gay guys in Philadelphia when I lived in Philly. Not
Hell yeah.
intentional, but my sister lived there, and she's like, "Hey, you have two new roommates." I could care less. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, brother, I
As long as
usually do friendly call-ins towards if we hit our super chat goal towards the end, but yeah.
oh,
No, you're fine. Don't worry about it. I appreciate you calling in. You seem like a cool dude. So,
all right, buddy. Just stay
yeah.
away from the Islamic countries if you're openly gay. Like I say, I could care less. Like as long as you're not hurting the damn, I can't think of it. Vulnerable people like mentally retarded, elderly people. As long as nobody's hurting them, anybody can do what they want.
Amen,
I'm
brother.
not a Muslim, but okay. All right.
Yep.
God bless you, buddy. Have
Yeah,
a good
take
night.
care.
Thank you. Bye.
Well, I hope his or his wife's boyfriend and his wife and him are all having a great day. Anyways, let me call in to I had a couple more call-ins during our me and the homies discussion.
Hello?
Hey, you called into the show?
Yes, I did.
So, do you disagree with anything I've said so far on the live or with the prompt?
Um, I disagree. I I voted for Obama after the KBR scandal with the Halliburton CEO that was the vice president. I was a Republican. being Hispanic, we're predominantly our culture aligns with the Republican Party, conservatism in
Yeah.
general. But I felt betrayed. I felt betrayed because they were fleecing the American taxpayer. I saw it firsthand. I was in my 20s when this happened. I was in the Army, National Guard, you know, um, and it changes you. So Obama, yeah, let's give him a chance. First black president, you know, but he created more division than any other president.
I don't think so. I think Trump is the one that's doing that, saying Democrats
Well,
are the ones that are trying to kill him, saying Democrats should be hung. And I do. So you said you're conservative. Are you a Christian or Catholic or anything like that?
not non-practicing. My wife, my daughter, my kids, Catholic. But
Oh yeah.
going back to what you just said, yeah, I understand. Right now, you get bombarded constantly. Your algorithms just blast you in the face day after day. You guys have no chance. You have no chance to turn it off. And that's the difference, man. When I saw it, I had to research it. I had to research Obamacare, how it affected me personally. When I had to file income taxes and get that penalty and pay out of pocket, oh, that's firsthand knowledge right there. It's not some story. It's not foreign policy. It's not,
Yeah.
oh, this person is being offended. No, it's me. It's coming out of my pocket.
Yeah. So you
That's
want
that's
lower
the big
healthcare
difference.
costs, right? You don't want to pay so much for
Well,
healthcare.
yeah, and he did, and he totally
Yeah, so
destroyed the
Obamacare
whole.
was not a perfect bill, not by any extent. It did pay off a large percentage of insurers so that they could make sure that people were insured. But I don't think Obamacare is the end goal. What would really benefit a lot of people is a public option. That would lower healthcare costs. It would make sure that everybody is insured and we wouldn't have to pay off these big companies. As a matter of fact, they would actually have to compete for the first time in a while because, there's only a couple healthcare private insurers that cover the market. It would actually make them compete. So you wouldn't have to pay so much.
Yeah, and you're right. I liked Medicaid for CHIPS for kids,
Yeah.
Children's Health Insurance Policy, or can't remember what the last letter stands for, but that's a very good program. It forces a parent to take them to get their pre-checks, and they got to
Yeah.
comply with the program, and not they get kicked off. And some social services are good. I used to be a case manager for the Texas Workforce
Oh, hell yeah.
Solutions, and I managed several cases. The Workforce Investment Act of '97 under Bill Clinton, Welfare to Work Reform Act, that Clinton initiated, which I thought was outstanding. He put limits on TANF recipients, temporary for needy families, so there wasn't this generational recidivism of welfare. The mom, the daughter saw the mom receiving benefits, not working her entire life, and that's what happened. They put time limits on that, and even those time limits were being abused. 60 months. We
Well,
had,
I do think, unfortunately, there is always going to be an aspect of people that are going to try to game the system. That's something that I think is, we can get the big fish, but there are going to be small fish that get away. But what I do say is, look at all the benefit that these programs do. I don't know about the specifics of the Bill Clinton policy, but I just look at how a lot of people are just barely getting by, and I do think providing that social safety net makes people more productive.
yeah. Do you believe that sodas and candy should be excluded from those benefits?
Not necessarily. I think it's much more of making sure that people are well fed. And I've seen it before where people will come into like I was working at a quick shop for a while, shout out.
Mm.
But I've seen it where people would come in with their children and they'd be like, "I want a piece of candy." And the poor mom, she doesn't have anything else to use, so she'll use her SNAP card. And I don't think that's nearly the issue that a lot of people make it. I wouldn't, if that's a law that goes through, I wouldn't necessarily oppose it, but I look at all the good that these programs provide, and I think there's a lot of good that happens. 70% of SNAP recipients, they're not even, they can't do anything. They're typically disabled or something like that. And then the other 30% typically is off of it within 2 years. So I just look at the good that these programs provide. And I do accept that there are going to be some people that unfortunately take advantage of the systems, but typically it's a lot less than the people benefiting from it.
Correct. Yeah, there was a lot of rules. Able-bodied adults with dependents, without dependents, certain work requirements, so they couldn't meet the work requirement, community service, volunteer service. There's a lot of stipulations in place. You're right, and I just wish it would align more with WIC,
WIC's a good
women, missing children.
Yeah, WIC's a great program as well. I do like these. I do advocate for these social policies because I've seen it. A lot of people I know have been on SNAP previously and just very temporarily, and they said it was a life-saving line. They weren't able to afford food and they were living in a hotel, but then they turned their life around when they didn't have to worry about where they're going to get their next meal.
Yeah, I had a lot of success stories. Several that I can remember to the date. It's been 2 decades since I did that job, and I was making $10 an hour, and it's very rewarding.
Yeah,
Um,
I think
but
I appreciate you serving in those roles. I think it does provide a huge benefit, and we don't really have enough appreciation for social workers or people that help our community day to day. So I appreciate that, man. I think you did good stuff there.
one thing though, going back to the current, let's come back to the
Yeah.
present, right? We need. I mean, I would have voted for Tulsi Gabbard, but the DNC kicked her off that ticket. Shit, I would have voted for Hillary. She's a bad bitch. She gets
Dude,
shit
Hillary
done.
was a badass. I can't lie to you. I I thought Kamala was the same. I'm gonna be honest. I know. Whoa, sorry. I just got a huge gust of wind that opened up um one of my windows. One moment. Sorry about that. But I thought Kamala was kind of the same ilk. She had been governor of California previously, and she seemed like somebody that wanted to get stuff done. Unfortunately, she did only have that three months to try to sell herself to the American people. And, a lot of people were feeling iffy about the economy. And, Joe Biden didn't really help, after that debate performance. So, I can understand
I,
why people voted for Trump. I don't hold it against them typically.
I mean, who's the next contender? Who is a viable person, please, on the Democrat side?
A lot of people are pointing to Gavin Newsom. I don't think that's. I mean, personally, I always bring him up, but someone like Mark Kelly would be a really good candidate because he's much more moderate. He has a track record of military service. He was an astronaut, so that's a great selling point. And like I said, he's much more moderate and tries to bridge the gap a lot of the time. We have pretty good candidates though. Like I said, Mark Kelly, Gavin Newsom's a good one. Kamala might be running. AOC's putting her mix in there. So I think it's going to be a very interesting primary season when it comes around. But I do think we have some pretty decent leadership right now in the Democratic Party.
I'm glad you mentioned all those candidates, but what a lot of people don't understand is the person that can change the most in your own life is yourself.
Hey, very
and
true.
and your nuclear family. Focus on the nuclear family,
Well,
and there's a lot.
I would extend it to focus on your community, you know? Your community is who are gonna there's who's there they are who is gonna be there in your times of need, you know what I mean? And so just focusing, making sure your community is doing well can actually do a lot to benefit your personal life as well.
Yeah, and look, don't get me wrong. I've volunteered at homeless centers. I've volunteered time and effort and money. But
Hmm.
the thing is, the person, that child that you're gonna be with for the next 18 years, maybe a little bit longer nowadays, that is gonna take patience, persistence, and dedication, and this willpower to
Yeah,
be able not only to improve them, but as a parent and as a father, it's improved me, you know. And
that's great to hear,
there's a
man.
lot of well, there's a lot of sidetracking. You know, you get so involved. I started pushing politics away recently. Um, it's just I'd rather rebuild an engine and
Yeah.
research that
Yeah, I
than
can understand that, man. You know, politics is a very toxic sphere to be in, unfortunately. And like I said to that one caller, you know, if politics are starting to be, if they're a point of stress, I would take a step back and say, you know what, I'm not gonna listen to the news. We can come back in 2 weeks and see how it's doing. But yeah, I don't blame people right now, especially right now, for being disenfranchised with our system.
you but we do have more control over those around us, next to us, than we do of any other um, foreign nation,
Yeah.
any other state. We live on the border where immigration. I've seen what immigration does on both sides. A lot of my clients used to be TANF recipients because their spouses were not um, U.S.
Yeah.
citizens.
Yeah.
No way to get that child support. You can't file a case with the Attorney General's office and get a child. People don't see the repercussions. They just say, "Oh, you're a racist." Yeah, I'm Hispanic. Like, please. I've
Oh
seen this
yeah,
firsthand.
I think we need way more ways to, in my opinion, become a legal citizen. But yeah, I'm not for illegal immigration. I want anybody that's coming here to be legal, you know?
Yeah. So what happened with that? What happened with the did it our court systems got overburdened?
That
We,
is, yeah,
we
that's kind of the issue we're having right now. It's definitely not a lot of people are becoming immigration judges, and so that's an issue we
well,
have for sure.
yeah, but what I started doing, I mean, Jesus, I got to give it to
Yeah.
them. They
Oh,
just said, "Hey, Judge so and so, go ahead and your whole docket for the month of April, this April 2026, you're gonna go ahead and just cancel everything. And as soon as they show up to court, we nab them."
I
And
don't.
understandably, people are frustrated. 5 years waiting and paying an immigration attorney month after month, and then for that to happen.
Yeah,
And I
I
understand.
think we gotta expand these courts to make sure that they don't get overrun like that, and make sure that people get their day in court. You know.
And at the same time, I see, what happened to those caravans of people. The invasion of illegal immigrants. It's a tough thing to say. Why? Because send me your huddled masses, and I understand that. I'm a fifth generation immigrant. My grandmother came here in the 20s legally with all the money in her savings just to, to immigrate.
Yeah.
And we have to give the chance as well. But immigration reform,
Yeah,
that
I think
immigration reform
reform
is,
is. Yeah, we just need reform. We need to make it. You know, a lot of these laws are dictated by laws that were created in the 90s. It's 2026. Excuse me. It's 2026. We got to update these laws, you know.
you're right, you're right. And we don't understand reform.
Yeah.
And
Well,
everybody spits it out, but
yeah, it's
yeah,
going to take a
I look,
lot. It's going to take like an actual bill to go through the, you know, we can't just have executive orders constantly. We got to have some real legislation that's going to actually address the issue. I totally agree.
Well, I appreciate your time, and
Yeah, of
just
course, man.
real quick to close it off, whoever gets elected has no bearing on us anymore. The
Well,
bearing is your decision in your life, how hard you
well,
want to
I
work.
do think we can, the reason I come up here, I do advocate for uh, policies that I think would benefit everybody. Like for, the public option we talked about, where I think those would lead to real gains in people's lives and people not constantly stressing about, their medical bills and stuff. And I also think if we had a public option, mental health would not be so much of a burden on a lot of people. I think a lot of people unfortunately do deal with mental health struggles that they just don't even really realize. I give the example when I was 22, I thought everybody worried about the future and worried about how they looked and stuff like that. It wasn't until I had an actual conversation with a therapist that I realized, oh, this isn't normal at all. Nobody stress, you're not supposed to stress about things constantly every day. You're supposed to have some moments of clarity and moments of levity and fun times. I wasn't experiencing happiness. So I really do think that a lot of people suffer from that and they just don't really realize it. And so I think if we get people, mental health care in a lot of our issues, like the school shootings we see, we wouldn't have as many of them.
You're right. You're right. Our society, the degradation. What is it? I'm sorry, I'm tongue
Oh,
twisted.
no, you're okay.
Degradation of society has expanded tenfold over the last couple of decades. You're right. I mean, it's bad, but I just hope everybody here that's listening does find happiness, no matter where you're at in life. And
Amen. And I
thank
think,
you very much.
yeah, I think that's a great message to end off on. You seem like a cool dude, so I hope you have a great day, man.
You as well. Thank you. Bye.
Yep, take care. Yeah, I appreciate that caller. Seemed like a cool dude. Rip Shroomy says when I call in, it says the number is disconnected. Well, try calling in now since I'm not on a call. I will be calling back some people that called in during that conversation. So let me give them a call real quick. By the way, if you guys are enjoying the stream, hey, you called into the show?
Hello?
Hey, did you call into the show?
Yeah.
Got
My
you.
bad.
So, do you disagree with anything that's been said so far or with the prompt?
To be honest, this is the first time I've seen like any of these videos on here, and like I just tuned in a couple minutes ago.
Got you.
So I didn't
Got
really,
you.
I just seen the prompt. I didn't really see what's it called? Like all you said, to be
Yeah,
honest.
for sure. So, do you think Donald Trump isn't failing the American people right now?
Um, it's to some people probably he is, but I think he's done a pretty good job so far. I wouldn't say a failure.
Well,
I
the
think
reason I say that is because of what he said during the campaign trail. So he said he wouldn't start any new wars. He started a new war in Iran. He said he was going to bring our grocery prices down. We haven't seen any legislation that would bring grocery prices down. It's these promises that he's made that I kind of base that prompt on.
Yeah, I definitely hear what you're saying. What is he in? His second year? Not even a second. Well, yeah, he's been in there a year, going on his second year, so about halfway through his term. Um, I think hopefully the grocery prices can go down. I know, like you said, why haven't they gone down already? Feel like they definitely should. The war with Iran, yeah, that was a big reason I voted for him too. Was no new wars.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like you said, he did say that, but
Yeah, I promised you guys, and it just frustrates me to see
You
my
know,
fellow Americans be
there's
lied
a lot of
to.
candidates. There's a lot of candidates. They promise a lot of things and can't fulfill, or sometimes go back on what they said.
No, for sure, but this is
Apparently,
like
I
a
know.
big
Apparently,
thing.
yeah. Apparently, from coming from Trump's mouth is, in his mind, he did what was best for the American people. Do I think it was best? I'm not sure. Maybe he is smarter than us. Maybe he's dumb. But maybe, like from what I'm hearing, you can only take what you hear, right? He had intel that they could get a nuclear weapon. That could be bullcrap. But I'm just going off of what I've been told, and
Yeah.
that he was scared they might get a nuclear weapon. That's why we bombed them the first time months ago. And then we waited a while, and then we go over there and have talks with them again, and they inform us that, like I said, this is just hearsay from what I hear on CNN and Fox News. So what they're feeding us, pretty much, that
Yeah.
when we went over there and had talks, that they said they had enough chemical, I don't know the big words they used, but
Yeah.
to build a couple nuclear weapons, and like that can reach as far as what Germany and all this other stuff, and
Yeah.
hit our allies over there. So, I mean, maybe we could have done it a different way. You know what I'm saying? Instead of just
Yeah, I think.
going over there, and we ain't put boots on the ground yet, which I'm glad we haven't. We ain't done that yet. I hope we don't.
Well,
But
I think the only way that we can have like a military or any real meaningful win is if we do put boots on the ground, and that horrifies me personally because I don't want any U.S. service members' lives being lost. But the reason
I agree.
I
I feel
think,
like there's been too many lost already. What,
amen,
10, 15 died already? That's
it's
horrible. I mean,
13 right
beyond
now,
horrible.
so that we know of. But what I think the reason I am so critical of Trump for this Iran war is because I think there was a diplomatic solution that could have been had. I look at the JCPOA as an example, but even during the lead up to these strikes, they were offering concessions that I had never heard from Iran before. They said they would stop their proxies, they would stop enriching. They just really did not want America to strike, and I feel like now we've kind of emboldened them with this strike. Now it looks like, oh, we have people saying Iran is winning, and yeah, while I don't necessarily agree, I think we're both kind of losing right now. I it does give legitimacy to them, and so I really think a deal similar to the JCPOA but more expansive was totally achievable before we started bombing them. Now, I don't, I don't blame Iran for not trusting us.
Yeah, as they shouldn't. We bombed the crap out of them.
Yeah,
It sucks that we did
exactly.
it. I hate that we had to get this far. Like I said, I wish I was a fly in the room to hear the conversations. What really happened in there? Did we
Yeah.
try our best? Did we give them every option? I
That's
don't
something
know.
with the recent talks with Vance. He hasn't really talked about what were we offering? Like what we know what we don't want. We obviously don't want any nuclear enrichment, but what was the offer, the counter offer? Something, what was the thing that the carrot essentially? I didn't really see any of that. So it just doesn't feel like we're really trying our hardest to be diplomatic or try to advance our goals.
Yeah, and I feel like she was just more straightforward with it. You know what I'm saying? If they put it all out there, what they wanted to do
Yeah.
exactly, instead of
Yeah,
just
there's a lot
trying
of
to be, yeah, trying to like cover stuff up. Like if they just said, hey, we're taking out Iran, because we don't want them to be a threat in the future if we get into something with China.
yeah.
I just feel like it'd be more respectable than saying, oh, they were gonna nuke us or whatever.
Yeah,
Even though,
exactly.
you know, at the end of the day, we did what we did. We went over there. I mean, we're over there now. Hopefully
Yeah,
they
and
can
We got to look
I
at
don't know. Like, no one
that's
knows their end goal exactly. Or are they just trying to get oil?
yeah.
I don't know. It's like I said. It's gotten to they like I maybe he's doing what he said. Maybe he did strike him because he was afraid they were gonna have a nuke, and maybe they got the information. Maybe Israel told him the wrong information. But what if he was told that, and the man really did fear that we were gonna get nuked? I mean, come on now.
Yeah, I mean, what
I can see it. I get 100%. That sounds pretty shitty of me to say, but I'm just saying that
No,
maybe
yeah.
he felt that, and I'm just saying if he really does feel like that they're still a threat after what we've done. I mean, man.
Yeah, I
Like you
mean, they're
said, Bob,
definitely
you have
gonna
to
want
put.
to nuke now. You know what I mean? They're definitely, if they didn't want to nuke before, that's why I say, like,
Well,
now all we can
if
do is try to get rid of the regime, it feels, because I don't think Iran's gonna. They're
I
under no
mean,
illusion anymore. They know damn well if they don't get a nuke or if they don't get some sort of insurance that the Americans won't attack them again, they're just gonna try to build a nuke again. So, and I don't want to keep coming into Iran every 6 months and mowing the grass, as they say. I want a permanent solution that's good for the Iranian people and good for the American people, you know?
yeah, and honestly, I think as far as it's gotten, as much people as we've killed over there, the heads, I think we're probably just gonna put our own government in over there. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like
I
they're
mean,
gonna
that would,
try to implement it. Like put someone favorable for America, and I mean, I'm just saying, if they're doing it the smart way, that's exactly what they do, and they'd make them a money. Try to get money off of them.
yeah,
I mean, because they control all that oil in there, so why wouldn't we love to have control of that? I mean, at the
yeah,
end of the day, that's probably why they bombed them. They want that oil. They want control of that. Cheaper prices. We get cheaper prices, control of the oil. Bam! Everything he preached about America booming, in his mind, he probably thinks America would boom off of that. Same
yeah.
thing with Venezuela, but I don't think it worked out exactly like you thought there.
Yeah, I mean, Delcy Rodrigo is the second in command. You know, she was just as culpable for overthrowing the elections with Maduro as Maduro. So I wish we were much more about our ideals of freedom, democracy, and justice for all, and we can reorient towards that way. This isn't the how it always has to be. You know, I feel,
Yeah.
and it breaks my heart because I feel like we're emboldening the regime, making them feel like, oh, now we can take on America. America wanted a ceasefire, and so it makes them more powerful. I feel so. I I this situation is definitely a hard one. And as a liberal, I obviously am not super for war, but I see that now we're committed, unfortunately. I don't think we can back out from this anymore. I think we have to really commit now.
Yeah, I know Trump. He's been talking about wanting. I think he thinks we've gone too far with it. Um, I think he wants to back out, but he doesn't want to look just dumb.
Yeah,
He
doesn't
wants
want to
something
look
out of it.
weak
You
on the
know what I'm
world
saying?
stage. Yeah.
Exactly. He's got to get something out of it, and he will get something out of it. Or, like you said, it's gonna last a while. But I don't think. I don't think so.
I
Maybe a
think
couple
what's
more
gonna
months. Because what
happen.
else is there to do? How much
Yeah.
more are we gonna bomb? What else are we gonna do? I mean, come on. What
Well,
else?
I
Wipe out
think
the civilization?
yeah,
That's all
literally,
that's
like
left,
you
really.
said.
I mean,
Yeah.
come on. That's all that's
Let's
left,
commit some
really. I
war
mean,
crimes. No, what I
I mean,
think is going to happen is we're going to so the ceasefire is going to break down, obviously. I don't think this is going to last for much longer. But I think what we're going to do is probably try to get the irradiated material. So that's the 800 tons or whatever, buried under, I believe it was Isfahan. I think we're going to try to get that and make a deal for getting that. And then that's like a material gain. That's a material win that he can hold and say, hey, look, we got the nuclear material. But I don't think that deals with the regime, and the regime is the issue. It's not the people. It's not even the nuclear material, really. It's this regime that is constantly threatening us, constantly making threats, and I don't think we deal with that by just getting rid of their nuclear material. We may have to come back, and I don't like that idea. I don't like the idea of us mowing the grass, because that costs lives, that puts Americans at risk, and that obviously puts the civilians at risk. So it's a sticky situation we're in that Donald Trump has gotten us into here.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like I said, I don't think we should have got involved in that conflict over there. But apparently he had intel that he thought we needed to. So, in his words, he did what he thought was best for the nation. And it happens. But yeah, I guess a way I think immigration a little bit, he's been failing. How do you feel on that? You agree?
I think he's been failing too. I look at the numbers of Biden and Obama, and they're pretty meager compared to what Donald Trump is doing. So
makes me mad. That was a big reason, all the people coming across the southern border, that was horrible. Biden let in millions of them, and I just feel like he should be deporting millions of them as fast as they came in, But I guess they did say maybe 3% of the illegals or something's coming through the southern border. So he shut it down pretty good. Because, I'm telling you,
most of them are.
Ago,
most of them is ports of entry.
I'm an avid CNN watcher. They showed caravans. I mean, I don't know if you know, but it's a big crowd.
Yeah.
I mean,
so those caravans.
It was horror. It was a foreign invasion.
Well, those caravans, most of the. So the reason we those caravans, right? I hear that a lot, and most of those were broken up by the time they got to the border, because Biden was a lot smarter with how he handled immigration. I know it may be shocking to hear, but we worked with the country of Mexico. The issue with Donald Trump being adversarial with Mexico is that it closes those paths of dissuading people from coming to the border. It closes those paths of dealing with the cartel. And so that's why I think we've seen, that's one of the reasons, I should say, that we've seen kind of disappointing immigration or ICE deportations, is because we don't work with other countries now. We're just saying, oh, we can do it ourselves, and that's not true of anything in life,
people there, and they were talking about all the caravans coming across the southern border. It wasn't. What about the northern border?
What about our ports of entry? That's where most of the.
I'm telling you, all them Canadians. Don't get me wrong. Southern people native of Mexico, a lot of them come into the U.S. But them Canadians. Oh my goodness, them Canadians. The illegal Canadians that formed into this country. Oh my gosh, man! If America is so bad in the healthcare, come on. But I hope Trump, he can just get this border under control more. And I mean, I don't know what he's got to do. Maybe with all that Doge money he apparently saved, maybe we can build more boats or whatever to get these illegal immigrants, the illegal criminals. Let's try to get the criminals first.
Oh yeah,
before
for sure.
we worry about 80-year-old Maria making tacos. Let's let her stay for a little bit. But let's go ahead and get these criminals out. You know what I'm saying?
Well, Donald Trump said he was going to get the criminals. He said he was going to go after the criminals first.
And he's trying to. Don't get me. I mean, trust me. There's something that gets mixed in. Every once in a while, you're gonna get 80-year-old Maria. Unfortunately.
What breaks my heart.
It's got to happen. Unfortunately.
Well,
I don't want to call her a criminal, but if she's over here illegally, you know what I'm saying?
Well, what breaks my heart is that it's all, if you look at the deportation statistics, it's only like 17% violent criminals. The rest is. The rest is
That's what
these 80-year-old Marias.
we need to clear out these jails. I mean, go jail by jail, prison by prison. Hey, are you illegal? Let's get you out of here. I mean,
Well,
you're costing our
I'm
taxpayers
glad
way
you
too
say
much
that.
money.
Yeah, I'm glad you say that because the way Trump uses ICE, it disincentivizes people from doing that because that's how it's supposed to work. The local precinct finds out that they have an illegal immigrant, they call up ICE, and that's deal's done.
Yeah,
But
that's been
what's been
if
happening
someone would, yeah, my
is
bad for
that people
interrupting you.
are,
I'm a
no, you're
horrible
good.
person for interrupting you.
No, you're fine. The issue that we come upon is when Donald Trump is using ICE in this way to kind of scare people, it makes the local precincts themselves, like police officers, hesitant to call people in because now they have to think, well, they may be illegal, but this person isn't trying to, murder me or anything. Even if they
I
are a
agree
violent
with you.
criminal, they
Yeah.
could be afraid to call in ICE because maybe the local PD knows a couple illegal immigrants that aren't harming nobody, and they're kind of afraid to call in ICE because they might take them. So I think the way, I had no issue with how ICE was being used under Biden. Obama with the kids in cages, that was a little more egregious, but I really don't, I don't think that we have to be, ICE doesn't have to be viewed this way. It's just the
Yeah,
way
I
that
agree.
Trump is
I
using
think
that.
putting them out in the street, bringing them out there in the street like that was maybe, a little too far,
Yeah, it
Just keep
scares
them out
people,
there,
and we
like
shouldn't be afraid. Yeah, I don't want to
trying to
be
be the
afraid of
keepers of the
federal
peace.
agents.
They don't need to be out there being the keepers of the peace, I mean, and a lot of that was under Kristi Noem. If you don't know
Yeah.
Kristi Noem, she had a lot in her
Oh,
personal life,
oh well, I
where
actually have
paying for her
interesting
husband,
stuff with Kristi Noem.
surgeries and stuff. Yeah, Kristi Noem is just something else, And I think
Yeah.
Trump, once that stuff happened in Minneapolis, sometimes it takes him a while to admit when he's wrong. I think he hates to admit when he's wrong. You can see it with Pam Bondi too. He should have fired her when
They
she
should
at the
have
very
fired her
beginning
with the
when she
when
ran
she
her
said,
mouth about the Epstein files.
"Yeah,
You know what
I've
I'm
got the
saying?
files on my desk," and it's like, well, you just
Listen,
shut down
when
the
Trump
investigation. So what does that
Exactly. When
mean?
Trump ran for president, he told them, he's like, I'm going to release the MLK files. I'm going to release the JFK files. They're like, okay, Mr. Trump, what about the Epstein? He's
Yeah,
like, ooh.
those
He's like,
who.
ooh, ah.
Yeah,
He's
about
like,
that
he's
one.
like, that's pretty brand new. He's like, the JFK, he's like, there's a lot of stuff going on with that. Basically, he didn't give us a promise he was gonna he didn't give us the promise he was gonna release them. He
Yeah.
should have stuck with that. No matter what happened, guys, I'm sorry, maybe in 50 years from now they will release them, but I am not gonna release them.
Well, we're
And
seeing
I
why
think
we
the
don't.
American people would have been okay with it. You know why? Because Biden didn't release them. Nothing was said. I'm just saying he didn't release them. Why didn't he? So that he could have put it on the back burner, but no. You got fucking loudmouth Pam Bondi out here. Oh yeah, we're gonna release
Hey,
these
good to see you,
files. I
Scooter
got the
Gecko.
whole list of names
What's
on my
up?
desk. No, you don't. Like what in the dummy?
No, yeah,
Yeah.
it's just like, and it just, we're seeing why we don't typically release the files like this because there are a lot of, sometimes people are mentioned in there that have nothing to do with it. And then, FBI investigators, if they pour through this, they could find links and stuff. But when you give it to like an armchair investigator, they come to weird conclusions and stuff like that. But I would say that the reason that the Epstein File Transparency Act passed was because of how Pam Bondi and Donald Trump kind of treated the files. And we were very, as a Democrat myself, I didn't really put much stock into the Epstein conspiracy because, it's just kind of these types of accusations that there's elites that abuse children. They've been in our government, or not government, but they've been in the public consciousness ever since the 1800s, And so
Yeah,
it wasn't
exactly.
anything really new to me, but the way Donald Trump acts about them is what has kind of, it's what has kind of made me very suspicious. I won't lie, like when he said, oh, why did he say I wish her well to Maxwell, and why are there still like 3.5 million documents that we haven't seen, and it leaves this air of questioning that can happen.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, I feel like he didn't want to get into it, but Pam Bondi, being a loudmouth, spoke about it, and then they opened it all up, and it's a good thing.
Oh
I think
yeah,
it's
I
a good
mean,
thing. They
I
should
think
release them files.
transparency is
100%.
great.
I think they need to. Let me not be a backer of it. I'm just saying, if Trump was in them files, I just feel like he would have. I'm just telling you, them things would not have been talked about ever. You know what I'm saying? Well, I don't want to say that too, because blackmail it's a real thing. But
I think the Epstein files, I meme a lot and say Trump is a pedophile. I don't think there's much. There is some information there that makes me ask questions for sure, but I don't think there's too much in there that implicates Trump. I mean, more is coming out, and I do think it's very suspect how they used I don't know if you heard about this story, but there were 50 pages worth of an interview that they just did not release that does have an Epstein victim that is, asked about Trump, and she does say that he was sexually abused her, but when the FBI agents asked if she wanted to go into it more, she said no, because I don't think anything's going to be done. And Pam Bondi hid that from the people, and I think it gives a very bad look to Donald Trump, even if he is innocent, for his people to be hiding that.
yeah, I 100%. And even that little bit that made him look bad, even if he was 100% innocent, the media was gonna run with it and make him look as much as they can. Even though it's crazy because he does it enough himself. You know what I'm
He
saying?
does do a pretty
But by
good
the
job of
media,
putting his
whatever
foot
they
in the
can do,
mouth.
they can toss up a story. They're gonna do it. And it's crazy that no one really even I mean, they were saying stuff, but it wasn't until Elon Musk said that stuff too that people really dug into it even more. It's like, wow, like this whole time, this wasn't brought up before he was elected. This all happened after you. It's pretty crazy.
Oh
But yeah,
yeah,
definitely
and
the immigration. The immigration, I think he could be doing a lot better. Because man, just
well,
it's
yeah.
horrible.
I mean, he
Like you
definitely
said, he
ISIS.
hasn't deported near the number Biden and Obama did, and I was expecting him to do
Yeah,
more than the
right.
last 5 presidents. I mean,
And now ICE has a
it's
scary face to them. People don't want to deal with them because they're afraid they're gonna get shot. And while I think that,
I get it. That was horrible. That guy getting
yeah,
shot by ICE. I mean, that was horrible. I mean, that was.
yeah. I mean,
I
anybody
feel
that
like
watched
there
that
should have been a
video.
bigger. There should have been a bigger. I think like almost like a Black Lives Matter thing. Like
Oh, I
everyone flooding
mean,
the. I mean, 10 times worse than what happened. Because that from the NRA, from everybody. Because
no,
I
yeah.
think
I was
I
actually kind
think
of proud of the NRA pushing back against what the
100%.
administration was saying. Me
Because
and
I
the
think I'm allowed
NRA.
to go to a cop if I want to. If I'm protesting, I can go to a cop with an AR-15 on my back because it's open carry. I'm allowed to. This is America, my Second Amendment right, and I can
Yeah,
cuss you out and call you every name in the book as long as I don't threaten you or act like I'm going to harm them. That is
yeah.
my right. And just because I am, well, I guess they're resisting arrest too because I get what they're arresting them for disorderly conduct or something. And
Yeah,
then they
that's
saw
that
the
was
gun and they
ridiculous.
shot him.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah,
Like this
that was
guy,
pretty
he
dumb. It was
looked
pretty
very.
un-American. I agree. That was some of the most un-American thing I've ever seen in my life. That guy was in the right. Everything
Yeah.
he did, his life was taken from him. I
And
agree,
I
a
I
hundred
I, I
percent.
saw myself. I won't lie. That was a very like because I saw myself in that dude. He saw a woman get pushed over, and regardless of if they're undocumented or not, of course, you should help out a woman that gets pushed down. You should do that. Like, that's what we're taught is to that's our humanity. And
Yeah,
so
but now if you're now if ICE is in there arresting an illegal criminal in a house and coming out and you're up in a cop's face and you touch him in any way, or you spit on them or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, if you interfere into them, if you interfere with the arrest or like trying to push the cops in any way, I think you deserve to get arrested, you know?
Yeah, you
Or,
deserve to get arrested for sure.
flung to the
Not,
ground or whatever, but definitely not shot. You know what
yeah,
I'm
definitely
saying?
not.
That one.
Your life doesn't deserve to be taken
But
from
yeah,
you for
I
participating
definitely
in
think
your rights, you
I
know?
don't think we need ICE going around the streets and everything like that. There's no. I think they need to go around the streets and go to the criminals. They know where the criminals are.
Exactly.
They know where the drug houses are. I'm telling you, our
Well,
intelligence
that's,
is way too smart not
oh
to
yeah.
know where all these drugs are coming from.
Well,
I'm just
and
telling you,
also,
they can
I,
track the messages. They can track everything. They know where these drugs are coming from. You
well,
know,
that's something that spooks me because now I feel like local police departments are going to be hesitant to deal with ICE, and that's bad for our safety, you know? Like, I want our federal government and our local precinct working together. I don't want them to be adversarial to each other because then, you know, criminals might get away with it, not because the local precinct wants anything, you know, wants criminals to go around, but just because they don't have the information because they're too afraid to work with ICE, you know?
yeah, no, I definitely hear what you're saying, but yeah, I feel like the FBI, the police, they should all come together, ICE, everybody, look at where these criminals are, look at especially the illegal criminals, because it's bad enough we have criminals of our own in our homeland, you know, but especially illegals, and man,
Yeah.
we just
We
got
could
to get them
have,
out.
yeah, I mean, look at, I always point to how Biden handled ICE, you know? There were plenty of deportations under Biden, and
Yeah, I
you
agree
didn't see this. You
because
didn't see
man,
this
I got to
massive.
admit, like I said, I watched CNN. I love CNN, and 2 years ago, okay, let me just, that'll be a quick spiel. I'm telling you, the amount of caravans that were coming across. I know you were just saying about but listen, I know a lot of them got broken up. Maybe half of them got broken up, but I'm telling you, the videos of these immigrants coming across the river, just jumping across the border. The fact we didn't have the U.S. military there with guns drawn on them, saying, "Hey, this is an invasion. You coming by the hundreds like this? This is horrible." But no, we didn't. We let them people in, and unfortunately, we let all them people in. And maybe he did deport a lot of them back out after he let them in. But unfortunately, there was American lives lost. I understand there was American lives lost with ICE agents. There was American lives lost
No,
due
yeah,
to
I,
illegal, please, due
oh,
to
my bad.
illegal immigrants. And it's just, you ever heard of Lincoln Riley?
Yeah,
I
of
mean, it was a
course.
woman it was horrible things done to her by an illegal immigrant. Don't get me wrong, it happens in America. We got our criminals. It happens. It's just unfortunate that we let so many people. Okay, let me just say this. What if okay, let's say I do want an open border. The way that it was done, the way they did it, just letting all them undocumented people into this country that we have no idea who they were, and they could have been terrorists, they could have been prisoners, and what if Trump was right? What if they did release? I mean, it could be 100% false. What if they did release their insane asylums and prisons? Imagine all them people that just came over here and we're losing American lives. Yeah, good for Biden. He deported 2 million immigrants, more than Donald Trump. But
Yeah, you let in more, and
damn Joe Biden for letting in all them illegal, undocumented immigrants.
well,
Damn
what I would,
him, dude. I'm just saying, I don't even
yeah,
want to blame him because the man was so senile. You can't even blame it on him.
well,
You can.
what I would
I mean,
say,
it irks me. I'll let you talk. I'm sorry.
no, you're good. Don't worry. Don't apologize. You're fine, man. So, what I would say about the undocumented flow, there was about 3 million people that came undocumented across the border and through ports of entries. That's how much it raised up by. And I agree that there should have been a little more vetting done. And that's why I supported the border bill that Biden had Biden and Lankford worked on, because it would have actually updated our laws. I said it before.
I
A lot of
support it
these
too.
laws.
No, listen, I don't want to say I support that bill exactly, but it's kind of like Trump right now. They're like, he wants to get everything open for TSA and all that, but he ain't gonna do it until ICE gets funded. I'm just saying, I don't know if it was the same thing for Joe Biden, but I'd almost bet money. I'd almost go all in on it that they put something in that bill the Republicans couldn't agree with, because they'll have 95%
Yeah.
of the bill looking good, and then they'll just shove something stupid in there to get passed, and then
So
all of a sudden, I'm just saying
it
that
was actually a
it
Republican
needed to
bill.
be
Yeah.
a
So,
bill needed to be signed on that border. But I'm just saying they shouldn't have had a bill. Donald Trump didn't need to wait on no bill.
well,
You put the
he's
military. No, I understand. I understand. I'm just saying
seems
you
like he
put the
did.
military at the border. You're the president, and you stop that invasion from happening. You stop. And like I said, I got mad at American people. I'm like, why didn't we do something? You know. And then I got mad
So,
at Texas. I'm like, why didn't
yeah.
the citizens of Texas doing it? But I live in Florida. I'm like, Florida is just as bad. The amount of Haitians we have coming over here and all these people from South America that come through Florida, it is horrible. And DeSantis doesn't do enough about it. Greg Abbott of Texas, they love to boast about it, but what they let happen during the Biden years, I mean, and it pisses me off because Trump, at least he talked like he knew how bad it would hurt America letting all that happen, but he's not deporting like it is.
Well, what
And
I would say about, just to go back to the reason why we had so many illegal, undocumented people, illegal immigrants come in, is because we did have a very low unemployment number, and we just didn't have people to fill these jobs. I agree, the way we did it, not great, and it's a lesson learned for sure. But what I will say
a hard
about,
lesson
and to go back to
taking
that
blood,
bill,
honestly.
what's
What
up?
is it?
Oh, to go back to
No, I
that
said
bill.
it was a hard lesson to learn. I said, yeah, unfortunately, a lesson paid with American lives. For what?
Well, I think
Employment?
Donald Trump
Look
is
around. Look
showing
at all
the
the homeless.
lesson learned
Look,
American lives in Iran, But
no, I agree.
to
I
go back
agree.
to the
That's
Langford
totally
bill,
different, though, but I agree.
yeah, to go
But
back to the
go on.
Langford bill, it did have some very it was a very conservative bill looking at it. It reclassified amnesty, so it was harder to get amnesty. And one of the big things that I thought would be great is that, so it had it employed 10,000 Border Patrol agents, and if the number of if the number of encounters was over 10,000, my bad, it didn't employ 10,000. It did give funding, but I don't think it employed 10,000 agents. What it did is that if we saw more than 10,000 people through border encounters, it would actually flood Border Patrol with a whole bunch of funds. So I thought the Lankford bill, it was more conservative than what I would have done, but the only reason that the Lankford bill didn't go through, and the reason I bring it up when talking about Trump, is because Trump said that he did not want that bill to go through because he wanted to run on immigration. And I think that really shows that he doesn't care about the American people, I feel.
Yeah, I hear what you're. I don't know how. I haven't heard much about that.
Yeah, I'd look
That
into it
Indiana that
for
Trump
sure.
said. You said what?
Oh, well, I would look into it. It's very interesting. It's a good bill in my opinion, and kind of heartbreaking that it didn't pass because I feel like it would have really addressed all these issues that you're talking about. If too many people were coming across the border, then Border Patrol would have access to a whole bunch of new funds. So I would look into the Langford bill. I think it's a good slate for any future immigration legislation. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree, and the way they hold bills, like even right now, Trump with shutting down the government because he can't get his way with ICE. That the Democrats don't want to pay ICE. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't like the way ICE is handling themselves right now. It's like they're holding it out, like, oh, these people aren't going to get paid unless you guys all agree with this bill. it sucks. It's gotta that people gotta suffer, and
No,
the
yeah.
American lives are lost. But like I said, the way he is failing right now, I think, is on immigration. He needs I mean, I'm telling you, just they need to do a lot more, millions and millions and millions more.
Well, I think the way that like I always say, the way that we did it under Biden, Obama, these were targeted raids that actually got the criminals that were doing like real crime, real harm to American people. And it didn't have all this spectacle, it didn't have people getting shot and and us fearing ICE. I don't want to be in a situation where the American people fear federal agents. I think federal agents typically are pretty great people trying to make the government better and trying to make people better.
I 100% agree. And, I hope with Nick Mullins, I think that's his name, and Tom Homan, with Kristi Noem's out, hopefully they got the train, going on the right tracks now. I mean, I hope
so.
I ain't heard nothing since Tom Homan took over. I'm just hoping that they can just keep this train sailing and, just get on the right path and just get them all out. But, yeah, other than that, I think Trump's doing good. With NATO, I'm glad he's putting his foot down on NATO. I mean, man, did we need to do that, didn't we?
Well, I disagree. I have a question.
Okay.
Why aren't you more proud
of course.
Yeah, why aren't you more proud of the idea of NATO? I mean, NATO is an American-led project where it's the strongest military alliance the world has ever seen. Not just the strongest military in our modern history, but the strongest military alliance anywhere ever. It's extremely strong. And even if they're not spending the 3 or the 5% now, I still think there is a lot of value had in that soft power and saying, hey, we can depend on our allies in Europe if things get too bad. What happens when we demean and degrade NATO is it makes it look weak, which it most definitely is not. If Russia tried to invade a Western European nation today, they'd get stomped. They would, there's no question about it, especially with how poor of a performance they've done in Ukraine. And so I think there's a way where we could get NATO to spend 5% and not demean them, not say, oh, it's a paper tiger. It is not a paper tiger. I mean, if you look at the military assets, even with the military budgets in these countries as they are, it's I mean, it's insane. We could conquer the world if we really wanted to, but obviously we don't want to do that. But, I have a lot of respect for NATO. I've known some soldiers that have been part of the NATO infrastructure and just what they've revolutionized, how they've revolutionized the support structures and standards, right? Like a weapon that is in NATO will be able to fire that 5.56 ammunition. And that's universal. And so we really benefit from that.
Yeah, honestly, I would love to be really proud of NATO. I think I would love to. It's just, from what I'm hearing, like I said, I watch CNN, I watch Fox News. I can only tell you what I hear. Yeah. Is that we've been we've basically been taken advantage of by NATO, and we've footed the bill for a long time. Canada, I'm just saying the money that we've put in compared to these other countries are crazy.
Well, it makes sense. We're the biggest economy in NATO.
Ukraine over here asking us for money and money and money and it's like, how about we go to the other countries? Get something from ask Europe. Stop always asking us. I mean,
so
especially if they're not even paying what they're supposed to be paying. I mean,
now a lot of countries are. They've heard the call, but I think
but after what? After taking advantage of America for how many decades?
Well, I wouldn't quite see it. I don't see it as taking advantage of. I see it much more that
and them never mentioning us footing the bill until we are the ones having to mention it to them. So
I
yeah, it's not
disagree.
taking advantage.
I mean,
It's
people
just
used
staying
to.
quiet and seeing how long America will foot the bill for the rest of these countries.
Well, I
That, to
think.
be honest, with this thing in Iran, maybe it is the wrong thing, but they're supposed to be our allies. You know what I'm saying? And if
Well,
Trump had the intel that they were going to get a nuclear weapon that could reach most of the parts in Europe, that should be a humongous red flag for Europe. You know what I'm saying?
well, we should have went to our NATO
They
allies
should
before
tighten
we
up.
attacked. We
Europe
should have
should
went to
really
them.
tighten up over there.
Well, don't you
But
think if they are our allies, which they most definitely are, then we should have went to them before we attacked, not after, and expect them. Give them time to prepare. Let's have our allies be in the room at least, so we're not just expecting them to be our war dogs. They're much more than just our war dogs. They are independent nations that have taken the oath to protect all of the other NATO members. And so I feel if we would have talked to them, said, hey, this is what we're planning on doing and we're gonna need help. That's something that Donald Trump does not do, is he does not admit that our allies are very beneficial to us, not just in terms of intelligence, but also in terms of bases and being able to refuel and stuff like that. We didn't have them in the room making these decisions with us. And so when we don't do that, I don't blame them for being very wary of going into Iran, because what happens if we don't win this? Then all of the European nations are going to have horrible relations with Iran. And while I don't, I think Iran is horrible, it's undeniable that they control the strait now. And so they have to bring that into consideration. What I really think is the sorry, one moment. What I really think is the big issue with NATO right now is that they're afraid that the alliance may break, which would be disastrous not just for Europe but also America, because now Russia feels emboldened, and when Russia feels emboldened, they do horrific things like the war in Ukraine. I think the war in Ukraine actually is a great example of why Europe may be a little hesitant to help America now, because we made promises to Ukraine that if they got rid of their nuclear weapons, which they couldn't really even fire, but if they got rid of their nuclear weapons, we would protect them from potential Russian encroachment. And it feels like we're not living up to our end of the deal. It feels like we got cold feet with Ukraine, and we can't get cold feet when we're defending democracies. That's what America's all about, And so I think funding Ukraine, making sure that Ukraine is strong, is how we deter Russia. That's how we deter Russia from even testing Article 5.
yeah, that Ukraine, that's a big deal over there. That really, I feel like that was another thing big in his. He was gonna have that stopped on day one. Remember?
Oh yeah,
Remember
that's
that?
something else.
Remember?
Oh yes,
Yeah,
I
that was
remember.
pretty big.
Day one,
It
he's
didn't
gonna
happen
call
though.
Putin and tell him to stop. Well, it's been a long
It
day
didn't
one,
happen,
let's just say.
unfortunately. I tell you what, though, he brought a lot of light to it. A lot of light to it, though, because before that election and stuff, I mean, you heard about the war in Ukraine and all this, but they weren't vocal about it. You didn't see Biden over here sending people over there to Russia to have talks with them, trying to get
Well,
ceasefires done and all that. You
I
didn't see
think
that.
that's the issue, though, is that I don't think Russia is ever going to act in good faith. I think
I
it's
think they would have, though,
I
because
don't think so.
I
I don't
honestly,
think
I
they're
think if America didn't constantly try Russia, basically, I'm not a historian by any
yeah,
means. I'm quite illiterate when it comes to history,
that's
you know.
okay.
But anyway, I'm pretty sure it was Bill Clinton, him and Russia, they got in a room and they agreed, hey, this NATO, you're not going to encroach anymore towards the Russians because they're like, we don't like this. Y'all want NATO? Stop it where it is. Don't encroach it anymore.
Yeah,
And
but
we
what was the
signed that, and
second
we
part of
agreed to
that
that. And
deal?
since then, like you probably know more, but you probably heard about what I'm talking about right now.
No, yeah, I know
But
what you're. Yeah.
since it, what I don't know if Poland was, but we took a lot more. We went past that line. We
Well,
went
what
way
was?
past that line.
Yeah.
I'm just
So the
saying,
second
we
part of
made
that
a
agreement.
deal, we signed it, and we shitted on Russia. We didn't hold our end of the deal, so why should
Well,
they? I'm just
we
saying. I don't know.
actually,
I don't
yeah.
agree with what Russia does. I think it's a horrendous thing that Russians are losing their lives over there. I think it's a horrible thing. Ukrainians are losing their lives over there for politics. I'm just
Well,
saying, it's a
so
horrible
yeah.
thing.
Let me
I'm just saying,
explain
you say, oh,
the
it's
Russia deal.
Russia. Well, Ukraine, Russia. You knew from the beginning that
Well,
they want to be part of NATO. It is
which
in black and
so
white. No one can deny it.
so
Ukraine wanted to be part of NATO. They wanted
yes,
to.
and they have
And
full
it
right
would
to be.
literally,
So
we would go into World War III before Russia allows that. Why? They're not going to be tried anymore. They allowed one.
well,
Okay, you want to take
here's the.
that country past
I
the
wanna
line after we
yeah, I wanna
said
unpack the
you
deal
weren't
real
going to go
quick.
past the line? Okay, you can take that country. Oh, you're going to take another country, put them in NATO?
Well,
Okay, have
NATO
that
isn't
country. Oh, you're going to
one
try to take
single
Ukraine now?
country, man.
There ain't no damn way. You fool me once, shame on you. Fool
NATO's
me
a
twice.
defensive pact, though. So
Okay,
Russia
that's what
should
I'm
not
saying.
fear. Russia should have no fear if they don't
They should,
intend.
because
Hold on,
with
let me
NATO,
yes,
we can put our stuff over there with NATO, and you attack
You're
one,
damn
you
right. We
attack
can be
all.
defensive as we want.
Exactly,
That's a
and that is
nation's
bullshit.
decision.
We should not be. That is, dude.
No, not
We
at
should.
all.
I'm just
So the
saying.
reason, okay,
I
I gotta
think that
unpack
Donald
what you
Trump.
said there real
This
quick.
should be America first.
So
I
I gotta
agree.
unpack a little bit what you said there. So you're talking about
Okay,
the
go
deal
on.
between Clinton and Russia. The original part of that deal, which would reintegrate Russia into the world economy, is that you don't get to invade your neighbors. That was the initial. So if you don't invade your neighbors, we won't have any NATO encroachment. But what happened after that? They invaded Crimea. What happened even before that? They invaded multiple different neighbors. And so, while we could say, you could say that NATO's encroaching, NATO is a defensive pact to begin with. Russia should have no fear if they have no plans on invading their neighbors. The issue is Russia wants to invade their neighbors. And so, if they're not going to hold up to their end of the deal, which is not invading their neighbors and not scaring the shit out of Europe, well, then we don't have to put up to our end of the deal. And it seems like Putin is really regretting his decision to invade Ukraine right now because they are losing land in the Ukraine. They are losing a massive amount of lives. And it didn't have to be this way. Originally,
No, I
we
agree.
wanted
It's a
we
horrible
wanted the
thing.
best for
Shouldn't have
Russia.
happened.
We wanted
Should not have
Russia to
happened.
come into the world economy. We wanted them to share with the prosperity. But they didn't want to do that. They wanted to continue this and it's not even the Russian people. It's Putin. Putin wanted this empire. Putin wanted to have his name be remembered like someone like Stalin or someone like um I wouldn't say Gorbachev, but these great leaders in Russian history. And instead of integrating into the world economy, instead of not invading their neighbors for some vague threat of the West, they chose to do that. And so, while I can understand if it was just NATO expanding, it's not. It's Russia trying to expand. It's Russia trying to conquer all these territories. And it breaks my heart because the Russian people, they wanted a democracy. They wanted true freedom of choice, but Putin took that all away from them.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I definitely hear what you're saying there. But like I said, I feel like Trump should just focus on America first.
I agree with
And
that. No, I think
feel
he's
like he'd do a
horrible with
whole lot
foreign
better,
shit. So Focus on
Yeah, I
America.
agree.
That's fine, man. I don't want our world standing getting any worse. But we've been talking for a while, and I think you're a cool dude, and I
Yeah.
appreciate your interest in politics, bro. So
Yep.
I'll probably
Yep.
move on
Good
to the
talk,
next
man.
caller. Yeah, for sure. You have a great day, bro.
Yep. You too. Goodbye.
Peace. Take care. Interesting dude. Interesting guy. Putin is literally one of the greatest Russian rulers. What are you talking about? Putin literally put his entire army in a meat grinder and instantly disproved any military might he may have had is gone now. Any perception of a strong military is gone now because of what he's done in Ukraine. Putin is not a great leader. Putin will be considered with the likes of some of the czars. He's not going to be considered a great leader. He will be considered as though he was Alexander, an idiot that got played by a snake oil salesman. Anyways, let's call back. We do only have 30 minutes left. If anybody wants to send any super chats, feel free to. No pressure there, though. If we don't get any super chats in that time, we will be heading out in about 30 minutes. So,
Trying to take a fucking shit. What do you want?
you okay?
Who is this?
You called into the show?
What?
Did
Is
you
this
call
the
into a
fucking sex
live?
hotline, dude?
Huh?
Oh my god, I don't know what my friend's doing with my fucking number, but I don't want sex.
All right. Well,
I'm gonna block
I
this number, you
fortunately
fucking
am not
weirdo.
offering you sex, so that's a good thing you don't have to worry about. That's Cope. His ass definitely called me. Jared, you can go fuck yourself. Ukraine is a real country. Get the fuck out of here.
Your call has been forwarded to voicemail. The person
My
you're trying to
bad.
reach is not.
I meant Nicholas. My fucking apologies. I'm sorry I don't know the complex history of Russia. Luckily, we don't have to learn that in our history book, so that's all elective. And I'd say it was pretty true. Anyways, feel free to call in if you guys disagree. It looks like we did get one more call there, so let me call them back. Actually, we had two more. Hey,
Hello?
you called into the show?
Yeah, this is the Trump one, right?
Yeah, so do you disagree with anything I've said so far or with the prompt?
Oh, yeah, kinda. I really do think we need to get these filthy sticks out of here.
Okay.
Yeah, do you not agree with that?
No, I don't. But I understand you were just
Why?
trying to like do that shock value thing. So if you actually want to have a real conversation, feel free to.
So you want to be raped by Mexicans? You want your children to be raped by Mexicans? Is that what you're saying?
Are you okay, man? Has your mom been raped by Mexicans? That's interesting. I didn't know we were Eskimo bros. No, I sucked your mother's cock. Yeah, I do. I'm sure
That
you
makes
do.
you gay.
Well, there we go. I am bisexual, so I'm sorry I couldn't tell that your father was not masculine enough for me to be able to tell that he was a man. But yeah, I fucked the shit out of
You're a
your mom
grown-ass
and your
man
dad.
telling me this.
Bro, you're
You're a
literally the
grown-ass
one that
man
said.
telling me this.
I want you to think about this. This man literally
Well, I have
just
a real
said.
job, so.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do.
What's your job?
Fucking
What
your
do you
mom.
do? See, you don't have a real job. This is why Republicans are going to fail, by the way. People like you.
I'm actually a Democrat.
No, you're
I
not.
voted for Kamala.
No, you didn't.
How do you know? You're not allowed to look at my votes.
I did. I looked at your vote.
That's actually illegal.
Nope. Arrest me. Yeah, it's not as funny when somebody
So are we done
actually
here?
engages.
Are we done here? You gonna?
No, I
you
think
gonna
you're
done?
fun. You're funny. I like talking to you. You seem like a fun guy.
Funny how?
Well, just the things you say are so moronic that it's a great example of why Trump won't win.
Trump won twice. He doesn't need to win a third time.
Well, apparently you guys are getting decimated in the midterms. So I think this is a great example of your average MAGA voter.
Well, we have like women in there too, so it's like guys and women.
Oh, I don't think you do.
Yeah, I got one right next to me. You want to know
sure
who it is?
You do.
Yep, it's your fucking mom.
And everybody laughed. Everybody clapped.
You're alone. You have nobody there.
I have your mother and father in the room next to me.
No, you don't, because I had to bury them. I also have two fathers.
Yeah,
You
it's
ignorant
the
fuck.
ghost. It's their ghosts. I'm fucking their ghost. I had a seance and summoned their soul. And now after this stream, I'm going to
You're
rail
calling
the
me unfunny?
shit
What the
out of
fuck is
them.
wrong with you?
What, you didn't think I'm sorry that your two dads were so attractive that I had to have their twink asses in here. Looks like you're the one that can't hang, bro.
I'm hung like a horse.
I'm sure.
Oh, your mother knows.
Yeah, keep making... I love this, honestly. It really does show. Oh, he got embarrassed. Oh, poor guy. Poor guy. Not the mother and father? Jesus Christ. Yeah, I banged them both. I banged them both. You should have heard what his two father spirits were saying. Yeah, another clown with trauma. Poor guy. Yeah, I do typically keep those people on because I like to really show how idiotic MAGA has become. Hey, what's up, Carolina? Good to see you.
Call from.
Braden.
To accept, press 1.
Thanks for calling into the show. Did you disagree with anything I've said so far or with the prompt?
Yeah, I do disagree. Or I agree with Trump.
So hold on, how old are you? Are you over the age of 18 actually? You're 23 years old. Who did you vote for? In the recent midterms? Who are you voting for in your midterms? Yeah, see, you don't know what you're talking about. Because J.D. Vance wouldn't even be up for the midterms. You sound like a child. I know you're a child, and listen, man, I appreciate that you like... Bro, you did... What? Is your brother telling you to say this? I think that's sad. Yeah, I can hear him in the background. Well, unfortunately, man, I do not allow for people that are under the age of 18. And, well, that's great. But what I would say is keep up that political passion, and I think it's great. Yeah, so you just lied. Yeah, you just lied. Why would I keep you... No one can hear you, by the way. I'm just talking to you one-on-one. Why would you lie? That's... Well, I understand, man, but you understand how it's a rule here that you can't be... You gotta be over the age of 18. There's unfortunately no handbook. These are just my laws. Anyways, man, I hope you continue your passion for politics, and when you turn 18, you can call into the show. All right, have a great day, man. Yeah. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, sorry about that. Hey, I appreciate that younger people are getting into politics. Unfortunately, my rules here are 18 and over. So, let's give a call back to, I think there was one other call here that came in. Actually, no, hold on. That one was wrong. Oops. Well, I actually don't think there's anybody else. So if you guys disagree, feel free to call in. Feel free, ladies and gentlemen. We are in the last 20 minutes, unless somebody decides to be a generous benefactor, which if you do not have the funds, do not send any. 18, a magical number. Well, 18 is when you're allowed to vote, so that's typically what I rule it by. If you're not playing the game, how can you comment on it? Is Trump Jesus or a Red Cross Dr. Jesus Trump now? It's very confusing. Very confusing. Maybe RFK dresses up in robes? Maybe. Jesus is real heavens. Why don't you call in, friend? I'm just doing courtesy, man. Calling people back. But what I would say is that you're a fake Christian. How does it feel to be a fake little bitch Christian that just uses the aesthetics of Jesus Christ and not actually his teachings? How does it feel? I don't know. I don't lie and say I'm a Christian, but you seem to. So how does that feel? F? Listen. Oh no. Listen, ET transgender. I've seen you comment a lot recently, and I'm just wondering, why do I trigger you so bad? Hey, what's up, Derek? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. I like Trump? Well, you know you're advocating against yourself if you truly are transgender, right? Like, you're literally advocating against yourself. Your phone is turned the wrong way. Trans for Trump? Well, why are you trans for Trump? Can you expand upon that? Why do you think Trump is good for the transgender community? I don't think he is, but... For example, E-Transgender, did you see the recent lawsuits against the Trump administration for infringing upon Title IX and how he's trying to get rid of Title IX? How am I going against myself? Well, because Donald Trump is advocating for policy that would make you more discriminated against. I agreed with Trump, but lately not so much. Well, don't worry, Ian Wallace. There's a lot of people with you. There's a lot of people with you. I live in Canada, not the USA. Well, you don't even play the game. So why do you think Trump is so good for... I would really hope that you care about your fellow transgender community in America. Do you not? I care about my fellow bisexuals and gay and lesbians in America, so... And I care for the LGBT members in places that they are very discriminated against, such as in Iran and in Saudi Arabia. Well, it does not look like we are going to hit the super chat donations tonight, so that's okay. Hey, some nights we hit it, some nights we don't, ladies and gentlemen. I like his foreign policies, not his domestic policies, but his domestic policies directly hurt the community of trans in America. And I mean, you know, I hope I can call you E.T. But E.T., look at how most of MAGA treats the trans community. They think you have a mental health defect. I don't think you have a mental health defect. I think you're just expressing your gender. But they think you have a mental health defect. Look how they treat the community here. He's getting rid of dictators? No, he's not. His vice president supported Viktor Orban, who is one of the worst dictators in Europe. But Jesus is real. Heavens, please explain how you are not the definition of a fake Christian. We've been asking for that. You seem very obsessed with men's asses, and I'm just wondering, what's the reason for that? Do you have a crush on E.T.? You can be honest. I'm sure she's a very beautiful woman. You can just say you have a crush on E.T. Or a crush on me. A lot of homoeroticism here. A lot of homoeroticism. Not a lot of calls, but that's okay. We're about to get out of here anyways. So I think Trump is pure evil? No, not at all. I think Trump is cunning and very wrong in his beliefs. I think pure evil looks like Vladimir Putin. I think pure evil looks like the Ayatollah. I think he's incompetent. I'm not mad at Jesus. Why would I be mad at Jesus? He seems like a cool guy. Bisexual is a human construct. See, that doesn't make much sense because how is it a construct that I'm attracted to both man and women? I don't think that makes much sense. No, Cole. Putin is an evil dictator. But I don't think he's doing the best he can. I really don't. I think he is actively trying to make the world a harder place to live. You know, I'm against dictators too. As a matter of fact, the reason I'm so against Trump is because he shakes hands with Putin. He shakes hands with the Taliban. But I do think we have a pretty amazing community here, guys. Just to give a shout out to all of my supporters and all of the people that have supported me so far. I really appreciate it. Why do I like men's buttholes? Well, go take a look at your dad, and I think you can really see, you can start to see why. That was to fight ISIS? No. See, shaking hands with the Taliban, that was the deal that made us withdraw from Afghanistan. Am I trans? No, I'm not trans. I have a wiener that would make Banton here blush. Luckily, no one will ever see it, so. Is fighting Venezuela and Iran's dictatorship? Well, I can see how you might feel that way, but the matter of the fact is that he just replaced the regime in Venezuela, and if anything, he's emboldening Iran's regime. I can understand, like, I did not like Maduro, and I did not like, I didn't like the Ayatollah. Sorry about that. One's strange and he needs mental health help. I do agree a lot of MAGA supporters might need mental health help, but that's okay. Wow, homophobia, so funny. I know, right? But Syria, do I like myself? I mean, I'm confident in myself, I guess, but hopefully I don't think I obsess over myself. I didn't even shave today before I came on. Please explain. What do I need to explain? Anyways, Jesus is real, Heavens, you're kind of annoying, so I'm not going to pay attention to you. I won't time you out or anything, but I'm much more interested in the geopolitical implications that ET is talking about here. So, Syria was actually a highlight for me of the Trump administration. While I do think that this was already in the works for a very long time, it wasn't him who overthrew Assad. It was HTS. And I do very much appreciate I very much appreciate how he supported Syria. I don't associate anyone who backs Trump. Well, good news for you. I'm a certified Trump hater. But he hasn't stabilized his economy. He's decided to throw that all away with the war in Ukraine. These are good vibes. And I say it all the time. I really do have an amazing community. I appreciate it. You know, I see a lot of other YouTubers communities that are... Jeb, I literally mentioned something I agree with Trump on. So sad. So sad. Does the prompt stay consistent or does it change sometimes? It really depends. I've had this one for about a month or two and it seems to be pretty decent.
Call from.
My name is John Halley.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
Hey, how are you doing today, man? That's good to hear. So, do you disagree with the prompt or anything I've said so far?
Well, you know, I think I contacted you a couple days ago, you know, and I finally found you again on YouTube and I subscribed.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate that, man.
I mean, I just got to say, like, I'm kind of at an impasse with Trump. You know, I didn't really like Biden very much, but at the same time, like, Trump has gotten in, and I don't really like him at all. Like, a lot of the things that he said that he was, like, opposed to, like the anti-war sentiment and everything, all of that has kind of fallen by the wayside as far as I'm concerned.
No, for sure. And I feel bad for a lot of people that did vote for him thinking he would be different because he sold an appealing idea. He sold the idea of no new wars. I'm going to focus on America. We're going to get back the jobs and all that. But what we've seen from him is anything but. You know, we have meager job numbers. We are in a war in Iran. And there's a lot of people in your position. So don't feel you're not alone in this fight. A lot of people have been turned off by what he promised. And a lot of Christians right now are actually pretty upset with that image. So, you know, no shame in it, man. We all make... I don't want to say mistakes, but because you believed he was going to do these things, but the only thing we can do now is learn. You know, anybody selling you a quick fix, I don't think they're telling you the truth. You know, government changes take time, and it's for a good reason. We don't want to miss something and screw everything up. So I would trust. You know, I have a trust in our institutions. And I would just try to be more trusting of, like our institutions, you know?
Well, you know, to some extent, I agree with you. I mean, the Democrats really turned me off during the Biden administration because of the transgender thing. You know, I understand that to some extent, but to some extent, it's like, dude, you're dealing with children inside of schools and everything. Like, these kids don't really know what they're dealing with. You know, And I really didn't. I just didn't agree with that. But at the same time, like I really wanted this Trump administration back because I thought, well, during his first administration, he didn't really start any wars. He was kind of like the ideal Republican. And now I'm kind of like on the opposite side where it's like, I don't want this war in Iran, and I don't want this like sentiment that I have to support this war in Iran or else I'm like a lefty or something like that.
No, you're fine. You can disagree. Listen, man, you don't have to feel guilty for criticizing. A lot of Republicans are in your exact same position. A lot of Democrats that were originally Republicans are in your same position. So, don't feel like guilty for criticizing Trump. If anything, that shows that you are patriotic because our entire system is devised so we can make fun of people like Trump, so we can, show our disagreement in a way that he'll actually respond to. I feel like when we don't criticize our leaders, it gives them kind of a free pass to continue like this. So you don't have to feel guilty at all for criticizing Trump. You're not on the left. You're just a voter who was promised something that he's not seeing, and showing your disagreement with that could get Trump to act in a different way.
Well, it's funny that you say that because that's exactly how I feel sometimes, where it's like, I didn't vote on this guy because I truly felt like he was the Messiah or anything. It was more like I just didn't like the direction that the country was going in under Biden.
Yeah,
and I didn't really like the idea of what Kamala Harris was bringing to the table. So something more familiar like 2016 was appealing to me. But at the same time, it's like once he came back into office, it's like this is what I originally feared about Trump was that
it's a whole different person, right?
Right. Like I originally feared about him, like if he has 2 terms, in his second term, I guarantee you he's going to attack Iran. He's not going to like walk away from Iran because he's going to be the guy that fulfills the entire Iranian, we have to get back at them for some reason for the 70s and Argo and all these things that have transpired against us and everything. And it's like all these people that were calling for like this Nobel Peace Prize, I felt like it was like a Nobel Peace participation trophy at most.
I thought it was just sad because the woman who should be the leader of Venezuela right now, in my opinion, she won the popular mandate and all that, gave it to him in hopes that he would help Venezuela, and feels like he's done anything but. He's just replaced the leader, and it's things like that really turned me off, obviously, but I could see why other people might be turned off, even people that voted for Trump,
Yeah, I mean, I'm 45 years old. I lived through the phase of George W. Bush during the Iraq War intervention and everything, and I remember that feeling of like, well, France is betraying us, and our allies in NATO are betraying us, and everyone's betraying us. So is there a problem with us, or is there a problem with our allies? Because it seems like sort of like almost the Incredible Hulk situation. If you ever watched that TV show where it's like he gets into a fight every single week, and you start to get to a point where it's like, well, is the problem the villains in this like small closet community or something, or is the problem you? Because you keep going into these situations where it's like every single time you're the bad guy.
Yeah, and I don't like America being seen that way. I really I think our allies are badass, to be honest. I think NATO is a insane alliance that the world has never seen before. And so I don't like when Trump degrades it, says it's a paper tiger. That's That
Well,
gives
yeah,
places like
especially after
Russia and China more, makes them emboldened.
well, especially after Norway joined NATO. Norway joining NATO was like the one thing that no one ever thought was going to happen in the EU. Like, all of a sudden you had this army that had never decided to join NATO, and so they had their own, navy. They had their own blue water navy. They had their own air force. They had everything, and it's like they joined NATO under Biden, and they were thinking that they were going to get some sort of closer relations to the United States, some sort of understanding of the tactical necessities of what's going on in the world and everything. And it's like Trump didn't give him any of that. It's been like nonstop. Oh, you're not supporting NATO to the extent that we are. NATO is only responsible for 2% of their GDP.
Yeah, I think, like, I really do think NATO is badass and stuff, but and then us threatening Greenland, we already technically, we can do whatever we want. If we wanted to put soldiers in Greenland, I don't think Denmark would make a big fuss about it, but it's the adversarial relation that I just, it doesn't need to be there. I think NATO is more than willing to play ball if we just explain our positions.
Well, I agree with you, because I feel like Greenland is sort of that situation where it's like, if we have to respond militarily, we've already lost.
Yeah, exactly, dude. Like, I don't even know why we would need to respond militarily or anything like that, because just having, so the fear is that the Arctic is thawing and all that, but Denmark has already said they're totally fine. We've signed deals where if we want to put as many military service members in Greenland, we can. Just don't try to invade the country and take it over, because that's against what the people want. So it's just, it feels needless almost. Like, we don't need to do this. This isn't gonna help anybody,
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how I feel, that a lot of times that Trump punches, he tries to, he thinks that he's punching up, but he's not, because it's like a lot of these people that you're punching at, it's like you're not punching at Epstein, you're not punching at the possible Mossad relationships to Epstein, you're not punching at any of the power players in Washington. Like, you're going to go after Denmark of all countries, like, oh yeah, you have an unnatural influence into American politics, so we need to get rid of you. And it's like, it's Denmark, man.
It's
they don't do
literally
shit.
Denmark, right? Like, they're some of the most peaceful people on the planet, dude. There's no reason to get all upset with them. They've been a great ally to us. That's how all of the NATO nations really have been. Like, I have a lot of respect for our allies, and I hope they stick with us. I really do, because a world without our allies is a lot scarier than the world as it is right now,
Well, I feel that way too, because I kind of investigated NATO during the 2000s when George W. Bush was going into Iraq. And I was 20 back then, and I really felt passionately about, like, I don't feel like Iraq is the best war to be fighting right now. And, France had that really famous stage where they were on our side, and then suddenly, when it came time to, like, speak at the UN, they weren't on our side. And we decided to, like, rename the French fries in our cafeteria to Freedom Fries and stuff.
Fries, like, come on, man.
Yeah, yeah, and it was like, it was such a joke, but it was like, yeah, they're 2% of our GDP and everything, but it's like each European Union nation is 2%, so it's like. Overall, overall, if you add everyone together, it's like that's a substantial amount to NATO. But if you're just looking at country to country, yeah, that's pretty small.
But
because
yeah,
that's
it's
kind
the
of nature.
collective of what NATO isn't just one country, it's every country's military. And 2% might not seem like much, but you add that all up and it equals the most powerful military alliance the world has ever seen. And something
Right,
else
and
is like if they disagree with what we're doing, we need to sell it to them. We don't just like that's not where we stop. I feel
exactly,
like diplomacy is lost.
exactly. I feel like if they can't see our side, it's on us, to sell them our side because it's not like the Russians or the Chinese are really selling their side
Oh
to
hell no.
NATO.
Yeah, exactly. They're not gonna, and that's one of my big fears is if NATO ever dissolves, Russia's gonna go wonton into Europe, and that scares me because I know what Russia, we see in the Ukraine what Russia wants to do to the people. So, yeah, I'm for American dominance. I really am. I think we're the most badass country in the world, and we need to act like it. We need to sell these things. We need to use our diplomacy and statecraft. These are things we used to really value as a country, and I feel like we don't value them as much anymore.
I mean, I agree with you because back in the 60s and everything, the Cuban Missile Crisis and everything was like a really big deal.
Oh yeah.
And
And
it's
that
like
was solved by cool heads, right?
we used to really respect our enemies to some extent. Like we understood our enemies could damage us. We might win overall, but is it really worth winning if we're going to be in a nuclear fallout?
Yeah.
And
Now,
these days, it's like we don't understand that anymore. It's like, well, you're either with MAGA or you're not with MAGA. And it's like, well, it's not that simple because, like, the Russians and everything, a lot of these alt-right accounts that are on the internet are from, like, Pakistan, India, Russia,
I'm
and
proud.
everything. And
I'm
it's like,
glad you see that. Because not a lot of people know that, but yeah, a lot of the super alt-right, I'm not talking about like just right, but the super alt-right, they are astroturfed by other countries because they know that when a group is extremely adversarial towards other groups, it makes America weaker. Not, the division makes us weaker. A house, the famous line, a house united or a house united stands. I'm kind of tired right now. So, a house divided
no,
cannot
I
stand.
get what you're saying.
You know?
A house
Yeah.
divided against itself cannot stand.
Amen. And so I think they know that. And I think they know that America has the most badass military. So they're not going to try to beat us in the field of military victories. They're going to try to beat us in the world of information. And I think informational or like the cyber kind of deal is it's a big threat. And I hope soon, once we get back, I hope we can address it because I want, I'm a Democrat, but I want a Republican just to be on my side too. Like I don't want to have this fight between Republicans and Democrats. I think it's kind of stupid because we're all Americans and we just have a different position most of the time. It's not that we hate each other like kind of Trump wants to make us feel.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I feel like the good versus evil argument doesn't really work out very well when you're talking about your own countrymen. Like, anytime you're getting into good versus evil, it's like you're a politician, right? So if you're a politician, you've got to be erring towards the side of you're already doing some kind of evil. So the good that you could do is reaching out with the olive branch across the aisle.
Amen. And I think that I think our country works better like that, truly. Like that's kind of how it's designed, You get, we all come down to the table. We all sit down at the table and you get something, I get something, and it's a good bill. But that's not what we really see right now.
Yeah, we're definitely not seeing that right now. We're seeing a whole lot of like Trump is fighting with his own alt-right base and everything, And I'm not sure how I feel about that, because on the one hand, it's like, dude, I'm 45 years old. I was there during the 20s when you were selling me the GOP. I was there during the 2010s when you were selling me Donald Trump. Now I'm here in the 2020s and you're selling me like the next guy after Donald Trump, and I'm like, I don't trust you anymore.
Yeah, because he's burned you on all of his promises. But I do have to head out here real quick. Is there any?
Yeah,
I do
sure.
have to head out because I have to end the show. But I really appreciate your thoughts and opinions, man. And I, I hope in the future this is just how normal political conversations go.
Well, thank you. Yeah, you too. I feel like I'm sort of like a anomaly on the alt-right. Like, I really don't like the alt-right too much. I don't like Alex Jones. I don't like Candace Owens. I don't like any of these people. I'm born again, but, like, I don't like these people that have started to use Christianity suddenly as, like, the reason for supporting Donald Trump. And it's like, you weren't using that in 2016, so
Yeah,
if you weren't
exactly.
using that in 2016, like, why are you using it now? Like,
Exactly. No, for sure. And as a last parting little thought, I agree with you with the Christian nationalism. My mom's a Christian, and she says that this Christian nationalism is totally against what Christianity believes.
yeah.
And so, anyways, man, I do have to head out. It's a little later than I usually go, but I really appreciate you, man, and I hope you have a great day.
You too. Thank you.
Yeah, take care, brother. Till next time. Anyways, guys, like I said, I do have to get out of here, but I really appreciate that dude. He seemed like a cool man, and I could probably pick his brain for a couple more hours. He seemed like a pretty cool dude, but I do have to get out of here. If you guys enjoyed the stream, don't forget to like and subscribe. And with that being said, I think I'm probably gonna head out. I do have to use the restroom, so that is kind of contributing just a little bit. But guys, go check out IRI and tell him that guy doesn't exist sent you. Go check out IRI and tell him TGDE sent you. I really love IRI. He's a great dude, and he's kind of one of the people that convinced me to start doing this. So shout out to IRI. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. Let me start the music, and we'll head out. Oh, by the way, thank you guys so much for the likes and the subs. You guys absolutely killed it today. I'm actually super impressed with you guys. 63 likes? Are you kidding? Thank you guys. That's huge. Thank you. Anyways, without further ado, Chris Chanagartha remix. Until tomorrow at 10 a.m. Peace.